Last night, the long ball propelled the Astros to their third consecutive victory. Today, the series continues with the White Sox as Dallas Keuchel takes the mound, wanting to build on his recent success. So sit back and relax. Father's Day Baseball is next on Comcast Sportsnet. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Comcast Sportsnet brings you Houston Astros baseball. Today it's Game 3 of this 4-game series. The Astros taking on the Chicago White Sox. Good afternoon and happy Father's Day from Bill Brown and Alan Ashby. And the Astros have won 3 in a row, riding the long balls, good pitching, and the first ever in Astros history, Ash. The game ended with an Astros pitcher picking off a base runner last night.
Hey, that's surprising, actually. It's a nice way to win a ball game. It's not such a good way to lose a ball game. Awfully tough on the other side. But it's a nice combination you talk about. You start getting some of that power game going. You get the pitching going well. And certainly the pitching has been good. But Jason Castro, who hit 6 home runs in the month of May, now his 9th on the year, swinging that big bat. Chris Carter can be such a difference maker. 14 bombs now. First Astro to have 14 by June 15th since Lance Berkman and Carlos Lee. Nice combinations and right in the heart of the order for Houston.
Lucas Harrell did an excellent job. The bullpen chimed in, and the Astros won it by 1. And Dallas Keuchel takes the mound today.
Dallas Keuchel has been on a nice run of his own. Everybody in this rotation has been pitching well. Dallas Keuchel has been extremely good of late. 2-1 ERA in his last 3 starts at 189. He's putting up very nice numbers, striking out more hitters than you might anticipate. He's only walked a couple of batters in that span. Dallas Keuchel has worked the inside corner very well. He's changed speeds, good breaking ball spotting on the corners. That slide step that you see will shut down running games. Dallas Keuchel has been a big part of the success this starting rotation has had.
Coming up on this Father's Day, Julia Morales talks to some of the Astros players, and with the angle of Father's Day coming your way next.
Comcast Sportsnet. The Astros and Chicago White Sox get set for the third of a four-game set here at Minute Maid Park, and I am inside the clubhouse. A little bit quieter in here as I'm with Matt Dominguez, who's getting ready for the game. Third baseman. You put baseball, you put dads together. It's just the perfect mix, and it makes for a great day. But what is it like for you to be able to play and honor your dad on Father's Day?
You know, it's great. You know, I owe a lot to him growing up and, you know, get me into the game and teach me all I knew when I was growing up and things like that. And for him to be here is it's a special day. And he's going to throw out one of the first pitches, so it should be fun.
You said, you know, he used to hit ground balls to you. He helped you become the third baseman that you are today. What else did he teach you?
Just about life, you know, just always staying humble and even keel, and you know, baseball is a game of high and low, so most you can stay even keel, the better it is. So you know, that's probably the biggest thing he's taught me that relates to baseball. So like I said, I owe him a lot, and I'm just glad he could be here.
Thank you very much for the time, and enjoy this time with your dad. I know he's here.
Yeah, I will, most definitely.
All right, that's Matt Dominguez. Stay with us. First pitch and lineup coming up. Dallas Keuchel on the mound for the Astros as they try to take 3 straight from the White Sox. Happy Father's Day, everybody. We'll be right back.
Is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Jack in the Box. Try Jack's Big Stack Burger. 2 jumbo beef patties stacked with onion rings, cheese, and pickles. And by Progressive. Visit progressive.com today. We just had a rousing rendition of the national anthem. The kids have taken the field alongside Astros players. Now they're on their way back in to their seating areas here at Minute Maid Park in downtown Houston. And Mackenzie Walker, 9 years old, did a wonderful job of singing the national anthem prior to Game 3 of this 4-game series between the Astros and the White Sox. The Astros have won the first 2 of this series, giving them a 3-game winning streak. Friday night, they won a tight one 2-1. And last night, it was another one-run game, a 4-3 Houston win. So the White Sox coming in with 28 wins. They have stayed with that total, and the Astros now have won 25 this season after capturing the first two from Robin Ventura's White Sox, who were on a 10-game road trip. They'll be going to Minnesota and Kansas City after this series ends, and the concluding game will be tomorrow night. Starting lineup for Robin Ventura begins with center fielder Alejandro De Aza. It's Alexi Ramirez at shortstop, Alex Rios in right field, Paul Konerko the DH, Diane Viciedo in left field, Adam Dunn at first base, Jeff Keppinger at third, Gordon Beckham at second base, Tyler Flowers is the catcher.
And on the mound for the Astros this afternoon, left-hander Dallas Keuchel, 25 years of age. He's 3-3, 437 on the year, allowing more hits than innings pitched, but he has tightened it all up here of late. ERA has been below the 2 mark in recent starts. Right-hand hitters hitting .294, the lefties .295. So you can see there's a lot of work to be done there, but he's not walking many, and he has been leaving the Astros with a chance to win each of his starts of recent times.
He really has done a remarkable job after beginning of the season in the bullpen.
And that defense behind Keuchel, Carlos Corporon behind the dish. Around the infield, Carlos Pena, Jose Altuve, Marwin Gonzalez, and Matt Dominguez. In the outfield, Brandon Barnes in center, flanked by Trevor Crow in right and Chris Carter in left.
And now with a lot of dads and their families in the audience today. There's a big afternoon ahead after this ball game ends. There's picnic in the park. So a lot of families. It's a sold-out event. Some 700 people will be taking to the field and settling down on blankets for the picnic with entertainment after this ball game today. Alejandro De Aza gets it started. He has 7 career leadoff homers. And there's strike one. Jordan Baker's the home plate umpire for Dallas Keuchel's first pitch. De Aza at 265 with 7 bombs has driven in 30. Father of Angel De Aza. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count, and this is Keuchel's first ever appearance against the White Sox in the major leagues. He has won 6 and lost 11 with a 4.90 ERA. At strike 2, and it's 1-2.
I think we should all remember the immortal words of Ralph Kiner at this time on this Father's Day. A happy birthday to everyone out there. And I mean it.
You're just jealous it didn't come from one of us. 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's always lurking there. The malaprops, the mistakes that we make every inning of every game. But it's a fun job, isn't it? And guys like Ralph Kiner made it even more fun. That was a tough loss to the Mariners with 6 innings of 2-run baseball for Dallas Keuchel in a 3-2 loss. And that's chop foul. And he gave up just 1 earned run in 6 innings. That's his second straight start with 1 earned run allowed in 6. And the start before those 2, he gave up 2 earned runs in 7. So Dallas Keuchel has been into a very nice groove.
Yeah, over the course of a season, you're going to be in a groove or a rut, and a whole lot better to be in that groove.
Yeah. And he opens with a strikeout of De Aza. Shaking his head on the way back to the dugout, and he'll be replaced in the batter's box by Alexi Ramirez.
Just gets it under the knees and creates a swing. And one of the things that Dallas has done so well, along with other pitchers on this Astros staff, throwing more strikes of late, getting ahead on hitters, and increasing those swings on pitches out of the strike zone.
That can be very helpful to a pitcher. That one is out of the strike zone, and it's ball 1 to Alexi Ramirez, checking in at 269 with 1 homer and 13 runs batted in. Alexi has had some dynamic offensive seasons as a major leaguer. So far, this is not one of them. Ground ball goes foul. Back in 2008, his first year in the big leagues for the White Sox, he hit 290 with 21 homers, 77 runs batted in, and that still ranks as his best major league season. Ramirez is 3 for 8 in this series. And Keuchel, as he's done so well this year, comes inside on the right-handed batter. It's ball 2. It's a very steamy Father's Day here in Houston, Texas. Temperature probably will reach the mid-90s on a very humid day outside. Nice to have a roof and air conditioning. Robin Ventura's White Sox have had tons of bad weather at U.S. Cellular. He's the father of 4. In fact, when he was hired prior to last season as the White Sox skipper, and he's one of those longtime, very good Major League Baseball players who did not have any managerial experience on his resume, but he was quite content at home with his family in California. And Jerry Reinsdorf and Kenny Williams had to fly out and convince him to take the job. 2-hopper to Matt Dominguez. And it's out number 2. And of course, things went so very well last year for the White Sox, who held down first place in the AL Central for more than half of the season. Then just ran into a rut at the end of the year. You were talking about rut session. They got into one the last 10 days and fell behind Detroit, with the Tigers winning the AL Central last year.
White Sox have enough pitching that they could be successful this year. Their offense has been quite miserable. And what they've also done that everybody's talking about with the White Sox is making a lot of little mistakes that don't show up in box scores. One of those flagrantly out there yesterday with that pickoff at second base for the final out of the game.
That's a terrible way to end a ball game, losing by 1 with the runner picked off at second. Alex Rios looks at the first 2 pitches. He has a 1-1 count. Rios has driven in 33 with 11 home runs for Alex and a .285 batting average.
Nice pacing by Dallas Keuchel.
Yeah, it really is. He's working very quickly. What, about 8-10 seconds between pitches?
Somewhere in that vicinity.
And Corcoran, the way he's setting up will tell you where the pitch will be. But some pitchers will tell you, and Jack Morris was one of them, I really don't care if the hitter knows where the pitch is going to be. If I execute, I'm still going to feel pretty good about it. Now it's ball 4, and Rios takes the 2-out walk.
Well, Jack Morris had some pretty good postseasons as well as regular seasons for that matter. If he's got a point there, and he may. It doesn't matter when a pitcher makes that quality pitch. You're just going to have a tough time as a hitter.
Tigers are looking good despite their closer problems with Jose Valverde atop the AL Central. Bo Porter's club, though, has been giving other teams fit for the last month. Since May 15th, the Astros are 15-14. Paul Konerko's the batter. He takes ball 1 as well. At .239, Paul has 6 homers. He's driven in 25. He's had a good series so far, going 3 for 6 with an RBI and a couple of walks. He needs only 27 more homers to tie the all-time franchise record for the White Sox, set by Frank Thomas, 448. Slowly hit to Dominguez. And he zips it across to Carlos Pena. It's no runs, no hits, and a man left. No score from Houston. Successful the first 2 games here of this series, and overall 7 of the last 9 wins against the White Sox. Here's his starting lineup: Brandon Barnes center field, Jose Altuve second base, Jason Castro DHing, batting third, Carlos Corcoran's the catcher with Chris Carter in left field, Carlos Pena at first base, Trevor Crowe in right, Matt Dominguez at third, Marwin Gonzalez at short.
Hector Santiago, left-hander on the mound for the White Sox. He works out of the bullpen primarily, but he's been more effective as a starter. 25 years of age, 2-4 on the year, 3.12 is the ERA. You can see 10 less hits allowed than innings pitched, and right-hand hitters against this left-hander hitting just 195. That generally says there's some specialty pitch. He has a little bit of a screwball.
Yes, he does. Now Brandon Barnes gets it going for Houston. 271, 3 homers, 16 runs batted in. A big run producing double in last night's game. There's strike one to Brandon. The Astros got Barnes' double in the 5th inning. That gave them a 4-1 lead. Then they were able to hang on and win it 4-3. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count as Santiago throws one soft and away. And the third baseman Keppinger is even with the bag. Barnes has hit lefties well to the tune of 327. This one goes to Keppinger's left, diving play. He gets up and throws him out. One down on a good effort by Keppinger.
Drawn in on the third base side, Keppinger, and just makes this layout play. If this ball goes to Ramirez at shortstop, it's going to take a good throw to get the speed of Barnes. That defense for the White Sox, Tyler Flowers behind the dish, Adam Dunn at first, Gordon Beckham, Alexi Ramirez at shortstop, and Jeff Keppinger. You just saw him diving. In the outfield, Alejandro Diaz in center, flanked by Alex Rios in right, and Dion Viciedo in left.
Jose Altuve looks at a heater at 92. There's strike one for Santiago to a 292 hitting Altuve with 3 homers, 27 runs batted in. And he chases one there. It's no balls, 2 strikes. Santiago with 26 walks in 52 innings does have to deal with some base runners, but his ERA has been kept down to 3.12. Batting average against him 226. He's got some herky jerkiness to him, Ash.
Those last 2 pitches, the changeup that he turns over, screwball, whatever he calls it, and you could see the reaction on the previous one, Altuve reaching just way out in front. You can just about guarantee it, though, Brownie, when you see a left-hander, for example, that has great numbers against a right-handed hitter, you can just about assure yourself there is some version of a changeup involved. And the more herky-jerky, the better with that changeup.
Alexi Ramirez makes a smooth play to the backhand side for out number 2. Yeah, it was interesting looking at that replay of Santiago's right leg as it came through.
This is going to take a good play at shortstop here with Altuve, but immediately planting that right foot, Ramirez has a good strong arm and gets him rather handily.
Well, as you've indicated, the White Sox have had their issues defensively. They've made 44 errors. They've allowed 25 unearned runs, but they've made 2 excellent plays to get this game started. And now it's Jason Castro batting, so Robin Ventura would like to see a whole lot more of that.
Word is that Robin Ventura has had his ball club out early, working on all the issues that they've presented this year. It's just not paying off for this club.
Well, Mr. Danks was picked off second base to end the game last night. Castro homered last night off a lefty for the first time in his career. And that came off John Danks. Jordan Danks, the outfielder, was the one who was picked off. In fact, it was a rough night for the Danks family. They're from Austin, Texas. Their family was here. Well, John was the losing pitcher. Jordan got picked off second for the final out in the game, a 1-run loss. 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah. Jason Castro with, as you say, Brownie, that first career home run against a left-handed pitcher, and you hope that opens the floodgates. He has just seemingly gotten better and better at the dish.
Grounds this one to first. Adam Dunn with it. 3 ground ball outs for Santiago and a scoreless first inning.
score here, and it's time for our AT&T tweet of the game. It comes from Astros reliever Wesley Wright. He tweets, "Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, especially my dad, Willie Wright, who taught me the true meaning of being a father." And we want to wish Wes a happy Father's Day as he has a little one, little London. And I was talking to Wes before the game about this recent 3-game winning streak the team is on and these close wins. And he said, it's not just this streak. We've actually been playing really well this entire month. Even that tough road trip, there was a lot of good things we could take from that, just the pitching and how well they've been doing recently. And just, we've been really battling is what he said, guys.
Thanks, Julia. We go to inning number 2. They're going back to Dome days with those unis. And it'll be Diane Viciedo leading it off here for the White Sox in a scoreless game. He hit his first game-winning homer early in this season against Seattle. That was the first week of the season, April 7th. And this one goes in the air and chases Brandon Barnes back. Way back into center field. Barnes on the run, and he takes a spill on the hill, but holds on. Tremendous running catch by Brandon Barnes. He just kept pursuing it as the incline approached.
That's just airing it out. And Brandon Barnes has shown us time and time again that he can go get it. But the fortunate aspect is that he was just one step shy of that ultimate tumble by hitting the hill. And good placement there. Viciedo needed probably another 3 or 4 feet on that fly ball. Well, that's just all out. Good stuff, Brandon.
Oh. He would not be deterred from his pursuit of that catch. That's one tremendous play.
Yep.
And his dad is here today to watch it.
That hill was getting ready to do some deterrent.
Adam Dunn is the batter. He hit his 18th homer in last night's game. And the Houston native looks at strike one. With 40 runs batted in, Dunn has a batting average at 182, but still very powerful. And in fact, he's been on a roll lately with 5 homers and 9 runs batted in his previous 6 games. Adam grew up in Porter, Texas. He waves at the breaking pitch from Keuchel. That makes it 1-2.
That should have been a pretty good message for the Astros right there. Now, guys can adjust, but based on that one swing on the breaking ball against the left-hander Adam Dunn, having a tough time picking it up.
Bouncer up the middle and on through.
Come right back with the fastball and leave it up out over the plate. And I'll bet you Dallas is kicking himself over that pitch.
Just a reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller time later in today's game. Brought to you by Miller Lite. Dunn gets the first White Sox hit. He's on for Jeff Keppinger now, the former Astro who played here in Houston for 3 years. And then Keppinger, after last season, signed as a free agent with the White Sox, a 3-year contract. He's off to a slow start with them, checking in at 225 with 1 homer, 17 runs batted in. We remember his little kids from his time here in Houston. They would usually be playing in the hallway after an Astros game. There's ball 1. Keppinger can play second and third, and has moved into third base recently, and getting some platoon time there with Gillespie, who was in the starting lineup last night. Connor Gillespie. It's a 2-ball, no strike count to Keppinger. Well, a catch like that one by Barnes can provide such a lift for a team.
Well, it's already 1-0 Chicago without that catch.
Yes. Strike makes it 2-1. The Astros polled some fans to see what they thought about keeping Tal's Hill, and there was really not a tremendous movement to level the hill. I think if you were to poll center fielders, they would say level it. It makes it very difficult to make a catch like the one Barnes made.
I kind of like it. It's certainly unique. Crosley Field back in the day in Cincinnati had a little bit of a hill running up to the wall. I don't think it impacted plays like this, but this is such a rare impacted play though because of the depth. If that were a normal 400-foot center field wall, I'd probably say a little too unique, but I like this.
When this park opened in 2000, a lot of opposing center fielders cast no votes against continuing this configuration, but they don't make the call on it. 3-2.
I bet you Richie Sexson back some years ago would say get rid of the flagpole in play. Remember a bomb that he hit out there that hit that pole and came back in play?
He hit it, and there was a mark up there on that pole for a long time, but it's been painted since.
Probably a good 20, 25 feet up the pole.
Yeah, it was up around where the 05 pennant flag is. Fly ball here to right center field. Coming over for Trevor Crowe for out number 2. So right around the level of the 05 pennant. Richie Sexson hit that flagpole in play. It carried him back on the field, which meant it was not a home run because that flagpole is planted on Towles Hill. So anything that hits it is in play. It could go over the fence and be a homer, but this one didn't, and he got a triple.
Now, I assume that's the only ball since the inception of this ballpark that has hit that pole and come back into play.
It's the only one I can remember, Ash.
Well, I remember it was just priceless. Richie Sexson, I think he wound up at second base looking around, kind of like Willie Stargell when the ball hit his bat in the postseason, maybe the World Series way back when.
What I remember is him standing there with his hands on his hips, just staring out there, as if to say, how can that not be a home run?
Longest ball I've ever hit in my life, and it's not a home run.
Strike to Gordon Beckham, 322 for Beckham. He's driven in 3. He's come back from surgery on a broken bone in his left hand. It was that hamate bone, the hook bone at the end of the hand that hooks into the wrist. And from what I've been told, it's a very common injury. We've, of course, seen over the years many players have had that bone removed.
Isn't that the bone that Jeff Bagwell had broken a time or two?
I'm not sure it's the same one. I think his was on the top of the hand. Yeah, I think this one's more where the hand comes into the wrist. And it doesn't cause any problems to remove the bone at all. Happens all the time with baseball players. It's an injury that comes quite often from swinging the bat as much as they do. 1-2.
So can you have it removed while it's broken and therefore alleviate the problem?
Now you're getting me way out of my field.
Come on, Dr. Brown.
But I did stay at a hotel the other night, so. Swing and a miss. Beckham strikes out. No runs, a hit, and what a tremendous play. With his father in attendance, he surprised him with a trip in from California. Brandon Barnes rewards Dad with that play in second.
Right, Friday night, the Astros take on the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim at 7:10. Stay after for a spectacular fireworks show featuring music hits from Michael Jackson, presented by Marathon Oil. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com to get your tickets today. Brownie?
Thank you, Julia. Folks really had a good time on Friday night here as the Astros won a tight ball game. They got the fireworks show afterwards. They seem to be enjoying themselves. Carlos Corporate leads it off here, and there's strike one from Santiago. Corporate at .317 with 4 homers, has driven in 10. Santiago, 25 years old, was born in Newark, New Jersey, went to community college in Florida, Okaloosa Walton Community College. No balls, 2 strikes. Lightly regarded at draft time in '06, a 30th round pick. But very good major league numbers last year. He struck out 79 in 70 innings. He was in the bullpen, except for 4 starts last year. 1 and 2.
I find it amazing that a left-hander, especially, that has a fastball that can get up, and we've seen 93 so far. I would imagine in a 1-inning stint he can go mid-90s. That kind of an arm for a left-hander can drop that low in the draft.
It is surprising. Corcoran strikes out. That one coming in at 94 for strikeout number 1 for Santiago.
Just blowing the gas right on by. Didn't even turn to that little Scroogey at all. That's what you call throwing it over the bat.
He averages 92 on his fastball. The batting average against his fastball is .215. Chris Carter turned one around last night with a homer high off the left field foul pole. .212, 14 bombs, 36 driven in for Carter. He looks at strike 1. So Carter has provided free Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches for folks who show their ticket stubs from Friday night's game on Monday. There's a shot through the left side, and he provides the first hit of the day for Astros fans here.
You're always looking for this bat to come alive in terms of the long ball. It's kind of a tough thing to figure out this year, how Chris has had such a tough time unloading the long ball here at Minute Maid Park with the friendly confines in left field.
His batting average at home was .150 coming into this game. Santiago has thrown a first pitch strike to all 5 batters. Carlos Pena at .228 has gone deep 6 times with 18 driven in. Carlos is 0 for 1 in this series. He looks at that one, and it's ball 1. Now, one thing a left-handed batter does facing this lefty Santiago is pretty much take away his screwball. He could throw it, of course, but that's usually not advised. Lefty on lefty.
Yeah, I don't know why that is either. And I think back to Fernando Valenzuela. He would throw it against the left-handers.
True.
It might have been it. But certainly the numbers indicate that left-handers have had a much easier time than the righties.
Yeah, that might have been it. His screwball's a 76-mile-per-hour pitch. He throws it 5% of the time. Batting average against that pitch is .111. The way he jumps at the hitter, though, that's got to make it tough on these guys trying to time what he's offering them, Ash.
You know, I didn't mind a guy that was herky-jerky on the fastball, but when he went off speed, that herky-jerky factor came in and left me jumping a little bit. And I talked to other hitters that felt that way. Guys that have real steady hands tend not to be bothered.
Pena works the count 3-1.
There's a lot going on with this delivery. From this point, it's not what you'd call classic, and that's just from the stretch.
It's not even classic rock.
Well, now, I think you have left your realm once again, Dr. Brown.
That's ball 4, and Pena takes the walk. Runners at first and second, 1 out with Trevor Crowe coming up.
Yeah, we've seen a number of fastballs so far from Santiago where he drops down even a little more than normal, where it looks like he's trying to hump up and maybe get that underneath it kind of a ride that some pitchers will get.
This is his 7th start of the year. So he has really been fine for Robin Ventura, coming in with the injury to Gavin Floyd. Floyd joined a long list of White Sox players on the disabled list with a flexor muscle strain in his pitching arm. He came out of a start against Tampa Bay in late April. Santiago relieved and went 3 2/3 in that game. And then he moved into the rotation. He's had some outstanding performances. Trevor Crowe at 200 with 1 homer, has driven in 4. Switch hitter. He looks at strike 1. Crowe, as a right-handed batter, is 3 for 8 with the Astros. And these two starters, Keuchel and Santiago, are 2 of the 7 pitchers who have made at least 6 starts and 6 relief appearances this year. That's a foul ball, and it's 0-2. Crowe has come in for more playing time here in recent weeks. He and Jimmy Paredes, who had been playing more than Crowe a few weeks ago, are both switch hitters.
I really liked early on what I saw from Trevor Crowe on the left side of the plate. Not as much on the right side, but the numbers you indicate show that he's picking up hits at a nice little rate and limited opportunities. And Tyler Flowers going to buy some time. Ball appeared to catch his hand a bit.
Yes, looked like it got the throwing hand. He's a converted infielder. Of course, a catcher is an infielder, but played a corner infield spot and was converted to catcher in 08.
You mean I have the right to say I was an infielder?
Yes, you do.
Wow.
Did you ever want to claim that fraternity?
My stock will rise intensely here real soon.
Well, do you advocate with men on base putting that throwing hand behind the right knee to protect it from foul balls like that?
You know, I do, and I was very guilty of not doing so a lot of the time. When the right hand goes behind the back or the leg, you tend not to be as effective blocking pitches. And that's the only thing I'd say on the negative side, but you do tend to stay healthy.
Which is important.
You know, and that's maybe a little more important than the rest.
And you're not going to be able to block many pitches on the bench, so that might be a good sacrifice to make.
Not many people notice when you're blocking them well on the bench.
That one floats outside, and it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count.
Be out in the bullpen just blocking away, and there is just nothing to show.
You know, that's got to be the biggest drudgery in baseball.
Oh.
Let's go work on blocking low pitches today, guys.
Well, you know, I thought you were just going to say catching guys in the bullpen. Now that can be that's a challenge. But yeah, at spring training time, usually you've got everything laid out for everybody. It's designed for pitchers and the rest of the guys, and we're gonna go out early 9:15 tomorrow morning. But then the catcher's coach will come up to the catchers and say, look, since we're going to be out at 9:15, that means we need to be out at 7:15. We'll be in the cage blocking balls tomorrow at 7:15 before we start catching pitchers, which precedes, and that's kind of how the day goes. And then you get some of that work at the end of the day. It's it doesn't lend to a whole lot of batting practice for the catchers.
Man. So not only is it the worst physical work, but it comes at the most inopportune time of the day.
They're allowing me an opportunity to gripe about what catchers go through. I think everybody who's caught would agree that spring training can be a difficult time for the catchers.
Yeah. That kind of catching is what people will go for there.
There's a guy who can block it when the need arises.
Matt Dominguez on deck. The Astros will pay their visit to U.S. Cellular later on this year. That's a liner looping toward the right field line. That's in for a foul ball. It looked like it was going to be fair, but just foul as Rios came over for it. And very close to making it a Houston lead. Chris Carter rounding third. We're going to get a mound visit here.
Trevor Crowe was looking for one of those beautiful pieces of ugliness right here. Just flipping it down the line. You want to make the opposition angry. Flip a few of those around for hits. And just see how the opposition pitchers feel about things.
Well, there was something that prompted the pitching coach to go to the mound there. Don Cooper.
Yeah, that last pitch. Really, you don't want to make that. That was really tough down and away. All he can do is flip you the other way with it. Don't do that. Yeah, he's angry.
Really unhappy about that development. And that misses away, and it's 2-2. Steve Stone, who's the fine analyst on the White Sox games on television, working with Hawk Harrelson, said that sometimes Santiago can hang that screwball, and that might have been the reason for Cooper. He may not have liked the pitch selection on the Trevor Crowe foul ball. Liner left field. This one goes foul the other way. And Crowe extends the at-bat, keeping the count at 2-2.
Trevor Crowe toying with the folks. Get yourself ready. Buckle up when you get one of these shots.
Oh man!
And I'm not setting this drink down there. I'm taking a look at everybody around this section.
That's a play.
Hang on to your drink and barehanded make the play.
That is a very skillful catch.
So, team, this is what I was talking about that I need you guys to be able to do.
Yeah, we're going to give you all a jumbo margarita as you take the field, and you'll be able to make the one-handed catch. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Here's the way I do it, Dad.
And then the guy in front of him's holding a baby.
You know, his wife, Mom, in the batch there, didn't seem to be all that impressed.
No.
Can you get me another drink?
I have a feeling she's thinking ahead to the next 8 years when he'll be reliving that catch for her.
Boy, do I have something to listen to now.
Well, the runner at first took off. The runner at second did not, but it's ball 4 and the bases are loaded with 1 out for Matt Dominguez.
Yeah, the Astros get away with some base running garbage right here, but yeah. Yeah, that's a heck of a play. Just not going to get total family support over that one.
Now Flowers out to the mound as Dominguez will bat with the bases loaded and 1 out.
Yeah, it's not good when you've got 2 base runners and one takes off running the backside guy and your lead guy is not going.
No. Dominguez has 32 runs batted in with 9 homers and a .234 batting average. And his father also made the trip in from California for this Father's Day. His dad's first ever trip to Minute Maid Park, we understand. Line shot into the corner left. That'll score Carter. On his heels, here's Pena. And here is Tremblay sending the 3rd runner home. Relay from Ramirez, and he scores. Trevor Crowe is home, and it's 3-0 Astros. On a shot to the left field corner by Dominguez, who winds up at 3rd. Surprising that 3 runners came home on that. Very seldom does that happen on that type of a hit at Minute Maid Park.
Well, I applaud Dave Tremblay as well as Trevor Crowe, who was digging all the way. And when you've got a shot to pick him up, when you've been struggling at times with 1 out and a man at 3rd base, and the Astros have been in that category numerous times, get him while you can. Now you get a peek at Trevor Crowe here in a second, but he is digging with everything he's got coming to the plate, giving his 3rd base coach a chance.
And now the infield comes in as the number 9 hitter Marwin Gonzalez takes ball 1. That's the first hit with the bases loaded against Santiago this season. Opposing hitters had gone 0 for 7 against him with the bases loaded. That's the 3rd biggest 0 for against any pitcher this season. Squeeze was on, but the pitch was inside, and then Dominguez turned around and went back, so it was not the suicide squeeze.
That safety squeeze has been kind of the main squeeze for Bo Porter this year. And that, if you've got the runner coming on a regular squeeze right there, you're just up a creek.
Maybe it just looked like the squeeze was on. 2-0 the count. And Marwin chases one. It's 2 balls, 1 strike.
Now, Marwin's been a guy that Bo Porter has liked putting on that suicide squeeze. Not the suicide, but the safety squeeze, rather, with this year. He's a good bunter, particularly from the left side of the plate.
And in fact, with 7 sacrifice bunts, he leads the American League. He flips one foul, and it's a 2 ball, 2 strike count.
Young fan with a glove able to make that play. And Mom is tickled over the the ability to come up with this baseball. Nice work, young man.
Great day for families here. And baseball is such a father-son sport, isn't it?
Certainly was for me. I know that my dad was a key in my early development, and just the chance to be able to play the game. Mom was involved there as well, but I remember many just a session of playing catch with Dad.
A lot of families, Mom is the one who makes sure that the son gets to the ball games because Dad's working. Foul away, still 2-2 to Marwin Gonzalez.
My dad was not a guy who could be one of the coaches. He really had never been involved in the game, but he took the other route. He became kind of the president in the leagues I was playing in to make sure that everything was done in terms of getting money for all the uniforms needed, and just getting the things done behind the scenes.
That's poke foul. There's a great article in the Houston Chronicle this morning about Astros president of business operations, Reed Ryan, and his son Jackson, I believe his son's name is. And Reed, of course, has been very close to his son and taking an active role also in his development in baseball.
Nice that Reed's dad was able to find time to get his son involved in baseball.
Yeah.
Nice going, Nolan.
And a strikeout. Marwin Gonzalez reaching out for it. And that was the trend there with Santiago getting Marwin to expand that strike zone.
Well, there's what would have been and is the second out, but second out with a man stranded at third base, and now hoping for the 2-out hit without that send by Dave Tremblay. It can happen, and so when you give that third base coach a chance to send you by going as hard as Trevor Crowe did, it's a boon to the club offensively.
Could be a very big decision for Dave Tremblay to get that third runner home. That normally is not the case on a ball hit to the left field corner sharply as that one was by Dominguez in this ballpark. But sometimes base runners make assumptions. Oh, that's a double.
Yep. That's exactly right. And a lot of times with one out, you don't see that extreme send. And I don't know that this was an extreme send. It was a chancy one.
Alexi Ramirez got the ball. Looked like it could have been an out at home plate. His throw sailed wide of the mark. 1 ball, 1 strike.
It doesn't hurt that you've already picked up 2 runs on the particular play and had that quick 2-0 lead, and now you just try to add on a little bit more. But again, Trevor Crowe getting a lot of the credit right there.
Now it's a 2-ball, 1 strike count. 45 pitches thrown by Santiago so far in this game. Altuve's on deck. And it's 3-1. And the hitters can realize here that Santiago can miss outside on a right-handed batter and fall behind in the count. We've seen that a few times in this game. Had the back-to-back walks to Pena and Crowe. And there's another walk. The third of the inning.
And we saw pitching coach Don Cooper upset a little while ago, and don't imagine that that hot temper, at least at the moment, has cooled down. 3 walks in the inning, never helpful.
In his 11th season as the White Sox pitching coach, Don Cooper has been there at the helm for many excellent White Sox hurlers. Jose Altuve is the batter. He grounded out to short. Ramirez made a good play to get him. In tight for ball 1. Altuve, the 8th Astro to bat here in the 2nd inning.
I think Cooper was humming some sort of patience song to himself right there.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about fathers and sons. In many ways, a pitching coach is sort of a father figure for his pitchers. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dad just placed a phone call.
Yeah, he even calls for pizza when need be.
Lucas Harrell, who did so well last night alongside Doug Brocail. Lucas's father is in town as well. 2 balls and a strike. There's probably no better feeling for a player than the feeling that Lucas Harrell has right now. He has the day off, and he's just performed really well the night before.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun for those guys, the pitchers, to come to the ballpark in that scenario. And when you're in a nice stretch, it's got to be really one of the best jobs going. That starting pitcher, you know you've got 4 days off in between. Get your work in, you prepare, and when you're on a good groove, you just keep it rolling.
Well, he was really attacking with a fastball last night. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And yet allowed that first inning run. There have been issues with that over the course of the season, but when he gets it rolling, he's been mighty good. Talked about some of the numbers for the pitching staff. The starters for Houston, they have been awfully good of late.
Altuve strikes out, and the Astros come up with 3 on 2 hits. They leave a couple. Here's the big hit by Dominguez to make it 3-0 Houston. Have the lead through 2. This moment in history is brought to you by MD Anderson, making cancer history. June 16th, 1995. Doug Brocail, the pitching coach, now got the save in his 7-5 16-inning Astros win over the Mets. Jeff Bagwell's bases loaded single is the winner on that day, June 16th, 1995.
Always nice being held back till the 16th inning to get the save.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was a long day of waiting for him, but he came through, father of 5 daughters. And now Tyler Flowers leads it off here in the 3rd inning, looking at strike 1 with a .223 average, 6 homers, 16 runs batted in. Flowers comes around for the first time. Dallas Keuchel spotted with a 3-run lead now. It's an 0-2 count to Flowers. Flowers in his last 9 games has hit .357 with 2 homers, driving in 3. He reaches for that one, hits it off the end of the bat in the air, and Trevor Crowe comes in for out number 1. Keuchel shooting for win number 4 of the season has fit into that very capable Astros rotation, which has a 3.04 ERA since May 15th with 10 wins and 8 losses. That's the 2nd best ERA in the American League, second only to Oakland in the last month. So a good week, sure, every major league team is going to have a good week, maybe a good 2-week period, a good month. This is one of the most dramatic reversals of a starting pitching rotation I can remember seeing, Ash.
Yeah, it was shaky to say the least to begin the season. But they have turned it around. Those numbers you indicate from May 15th on, quite good. Don't look now, this club is 11-8 in the last 19 games.
Piazza puts it in the air, and here's Barnes going back into left center field. 2 outs.
Numbers since May 27th. You can see the 11-8 mark, despite some of the offensive numbers not being where they would like. Pitching, the ERA really good. These guys on the hill, starters for the club, just doing a great job.
Alexei Ramirez looks at that one. It is strike one. He grounded out to third earlier. Well, the Astros have 13 quality starts in their last 15. Whether you like the stat quality start or not, that means the pitcher's going at least 6 innings.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I would love to see them make that more meaningful. I love the super quality start.
What's that?
7-2.
Okay. Fly ball. Crow pursuing it over near the right field line. It's a 1-2-3 third, 3-0 Houston.
Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, especially my dad, Willie Wright. Thanks for all the things you've done for me, and just hope you continue to be there for me.
Just want to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Hope you guys have a great day. My dad especially, thank you for all you've done.
Fan of the game. I've got my goodie bag here, and my progressive fan of the game today is Keith, who made an excellent grab earlier during Trevor Crow's at bat. Foul ball comes this way. Tell me what happened.
Well, I stood up, I seen it coming, and my youngest boy, is saying, "Daddy, we're gonna foul ball over here." And sure enough, the ball's hit. I looked in the lights, lost it for a split second, and reached my hand up and like a magnet right in my hand.
One-handed grab. Father of 3 here. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you.
Is this why you're out here today?
Yes, ma'am.
What's going on?
Yes, ma'am. Well, my wife, she decided like a surprise thing, and I knew we were coming out here, but no, I wasn't expecting that.
All right, well, happy Father's Day. You got a souvenir to go with it, Bronny.
Good story. Jason Castro, the batter. 1 ball, 1 strike to Jason. He grounded out to first in the first inning.
It wasn't impressive enough without the lost it in the lights comment, huh?
Yeah. That just added to the drama.
You didn't need any help down there.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
I wonder if Julia's negotiating for the baseball.
We didn't see who got it. Santiago, after giving up 3 in that second inning, walked 3, so he's trying to reestablish himself. And it's a 2 ball, 2 strike count. White Sox, for their part, have had good starting pitching. 3.73 is their aggregate starting pitching ERA. That's third best in the American League. That strikeout number 4, and fans thought that was a bit questionable from Jordan Baker.
This might have been a case of a catcher, Flowers, holding the baseball and enabling that home plate umpire to take a look. Look at the time he took before putting out the call. Jordan Baker maybe needed an extra beat or two there to see strike 3.
Kind of a strange framing. It looked like Flowers was moving his body to his left and reaching back over to his right to catch the pitch. Carlos Corporan, the batter. He struck out in the second inning when the Astros sent 8 men to the plate. Little tap will go foul. Well, the fine grounds crew is going to be really busy after this game, getting ready for tomorrow night after 700 people flock to the outfield for the picnic.
This Thursday, June 20th, the Astros take on the Milwaukee Brewers at 1:10 p.m. Be sure to get to Minute Maid Park early, as 10,000 fans will receive a drawstring bag courtesy of MLB Network. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS to get your tickets right now.
Mitch Williams of MLB Network was here working the game for Fox last night. Maybe he left those behind. Maybe they're a gift for Mitch.
My seat was hot. I don't know about yours.
Darren Sutton was here alongside Mitch working the game. No balls, 2 strikes. They had a good game to work last night.
Every good broadcaster dreams of that pickoff to end the ball game for him.
Boy. Dramatic stuff. Corcoran chases and strikes out. That's number 5. And Mr. Danks there, Jordan Danks, was talking in the quotes after the game last night about seeing the Astros middle infielders a long way from the bag, so he thought he'd get a little bit bigger lead. Jose Veras picked him off. Throw to Ronnie Cedeno to end the ball game.
It's tough to tell from the comments that I saw after the game as to whether that was a pickoff play put on by Ronnie Cedeno or if it was just daylight and a nice reaction by Veras. But good footwork and a good release of the throw.
1-1.
And it was close. And Danks felt he had gotten back in.
Danks said in the interview after the game that his third base coach Joe McEwing was going to try to bring him home on any ball hit that would have been a single, we'll say. And so he was trying to make sure he got a bigger lead. And that proved to be the undoing.
How do you read that one?
Not sure.
Chicken?
It sounds like placing the blame on somebody else to me.
Yeah, get a lead that's maybe a little longer than you might be comfortable with. We're going to try to get you home. I think that's a given.
High drive left field by Carter, and this one is going to go over the head of Viciedo and stay in play. And Chris Carter checks in with a double. Diane Viciedo was trying to figure out where that ball was coming down. He looked relatively lost in left field, and it came down over his head for a double for Carter, number 6 of the year.
Welcome to Minute Maid Park in left field. Absolutely. Viciedo got himself pinned up against the scoreboard area, forgetting that there's a little bit of a jut back right here. Chris Carter wasn't exactly all out heading toward first base.
Carter's 2 for 2, 6 doubles this year. Now that's a difficult area. Not really a catchable ball, but Viciedo certainly looked lost on it.
Yeah, but as you prepare for the series, as you come in here, you would think that a left fielder is keenly aware of the fact that he's got a tough angle there to deal with.
Exactly. Strike to Carlos Pena, and that's one thing that should happen before game 1 of the series. The outfielders should go over those areas of the ballpark which can be difficult, like that one.
Look, I don't think anybody would say that was an easy play, but it was one that should have been pre-figured out.
Yeah. No balls, 2 strikes. Well, typically on many hitters, the left fielder will play right where that wall ends, right where the scoreboard wall ends, so that he can go back to his left and get that ball. Would have been a double either way, as it turned out, whether he had gotten it or the center fielder had gotten it. But a center fielder in this ballpark really needs to be somebody who can run like crazy, as he has a lot of room to his right to get into that bullpen area and also to his left.
I don't know that anybody would say Brandon Barnes is a speed burner, but boy, has he done a job going gap to gap here in this ballpark.
Gets really good jumps, takes great routes to the ball. Not too many wasted steps.
He saw the ball over his head today, challenging Towles Hill, that he can air it out pretty well. And the focus is on the baseball while he's in that full sprint.
Kind of approaches it like a defensive back going to defend a long pass. Trying to run directly to that spot where the ball's coming down. Pena strikes out. That's 6 for Santiago, and it's 3-0 Astros after 3.
The Astros lead the White Sox 3-0 as we go to the 4th, and the Astros will wrap up this series against the White Sox tomorrow. Then the Milwaukee Brewers come to town for a 3-game series Tuesday through Thursday. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit astros.com to get your tickets now, guys.
Thanks, Julia. We look forward to that game tomorrow night, wrapping up this series, and then the Brewers come in. Alex Rios leads it off in the 4th, taking ball 1 from Dallas Keuchel. Rios drew a walk in the first inning. That's near the right field line. Carlos Pena running up the line, and good running catch by Pena.
I don't know the last time I've seen a first baseman going straight down the line and with his arm signaling to everybody, I've got this, on a play this difficult. That was not easy. And that's a lot of that communication thing that everybody had talked about with the Astros when Jimmy Paredes wound up with a couple of plays where he ran into infielders. Make sure that not only are you sounding off with the mouth, but that you're visibly showing that you've got it.
He did it all. He did everything but hail a cab while he caught that fly ball.
Might have been attempting that there.
Paul Konerko grounded out to third. Great reading the Father's Day stories from many of these Astros players, including Carlos Pena. His father worked with him when he was a young player. 2 ground outs, 6 in the air for Dallas. And he's had some big ground ball out games this year. No balls, 2 strikes. Had 15 ground ball outs in 7 innings when he beat the Angels on the road. Astros are expecting Canerco to pull the ball on the ground. Congratulations to the Class A Lancaster Jethawks. They clinched the first half title for the Cal League South Division last night with a 5-1 win at Lake Elsinore. And they're 39-30. Double A Corpus Christi clinched their first half division title in the Texas League Friday night. So 2 Astros minor league clubs already have secured playoff berths for the season. 1-2. Tap to shortstop. Marwin. 2 outs.
There are times as a shortstop you have to charge hard. There are other times when you've got Paul Canerco going down the line that I don't know that that's the wisest of choices. Gonzalez caught himself with a little bit of an in-betweener and then made the play routinely at that point, but not sure the play needed to be quite that tough.
Well, he has some hands on him. Diane Viciedo hit that deep drive caught by Brandon Barnes. There's strike 1 to Viciedo. He and Alexi Ramirez, both Cuban-born White Sox players. 1 ball, 1 strike. Oakland has Yoenis Cespedes. It's 1-2.
I want to say again, I really like this pace put on by Dallas Keuchel, and he changes speeds here. It looked about like a Santiago screwball, taking it off and turning it down and away.
Gonzalez far to his left. Marwin Gonzalez in the stretch by Carlos Pena gets out number 3. Viciedo twice in this game has been absolutely robbed by the Astros. Beautiful play by Gonzalez and Pena. 3-0 Astros.
Welcome back. It's 3-0 Astros in the bottom of the 4th. Time for our Avis replay, and it's Brandon Barnes in the 2nd with a tremendous running catch out there in center field. You know where he got all of his talents? From his dad. Mike Barnes joining me now. For Father's Day, you came in. What do you think of the catch?
Oh, amazing catch. He makes me proud of anything he does with anything in baseball. He's just a talented player and everything. I really enjoy watching it, especially being here on Father's Day. It's just an amazing feeling, you know.
Well, Brownie mentioned that you had come to surprise Brandon on today. What was behind that?
Actually, me and my buddy Mike had planned this trip to come out together and watch him play, and it just happened to fall on Father's Day weekend, so that's when I told him, I said, we're not going to tell him, we're going to surprise him, and I came down onto the field. He knows my whistle, and I whistled out for him. He turned around with this kind of surprised look on his face and big old smile, so it worked. Yeah.
And you took part in the pregame festivities, throwing the first pitch out.
Yeah.
How'd you do?
I think I could have done better, but, I did all right.
He's hard on himself, just like Brandon. It's funny. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy Father's Day. We'll send it back up to the booth.
Thanks, Julia. Pitch inside there to Matt Dominguez, whose father also is here, and his father watched him rip a 3-run double into the left field corner. So dads are getting treated.
Here's the stretch. The pitch is strikes all over. Victor Ambrose.
Hector Ambrese's dad, Dallas Keuchel's dad here as well. 2 balls and a strike. Well, Dallas's dad is being treated, so we're 3 for 3 on the guys who have played in this game whose fathers are here. And there's Matt Dominguez's dad, who's an editor at the LA Times. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So he may be thinking about headlines for this game, with Matt delivering all 3 runs so far with that double in the 2nd inning.
Was that Mr. Keuchel sitting by himself there? Just like a pitcher, you got to make sure you keep your focus. Don't get to chatting too much with other guys around you.
That's Matt Dominguez's dad.
Oh, that's Matt's dad.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess I have to take all that back, huh?
Well, not really. He looks like the thoughtful sort, doesn't he? He's worked for the LA Times for a long, long time. I think about 3 decades. It's a lot of time behind the desk. There's a liner to right. And up in the lights apparently for Rios, but he stayed with it for out number 2.
No drink in hand, but still dealt with the lights well.
Yeah.
Yeah, those lights can be awfully tough, and you just hold your ground as much as possible and hope that at some point the ball comes out of the lights.
I still think that frozen drink, though, in the right hand makes it awfully difficult, Ash.
Well, it does, and see, the thing is, we didn't even learn until later that the gentleman down the left side was dealing with the lights and expectant kids around him, and a wife who really didn't care if he made the catch or not. You know, there's a whole lot going on there.
That's a lot of drama there, and they'll be reliving that one for a while now. 2 balls, no strikes. Not the Bo the Baylor type phenomenon, but nonetheless a special moment. Popped up. Adam Dunn back. And it's a fair ball, out number 3. And after 4, it's 3-0 Astros. Retired number of Nolan Ryan. It's time now for our Geico quote from his son Reed Ryan. I got to have the greatest childhood ever because I spent a lot of summers traveling to all the big league cities, taking batting practice, playing catch. We'd come out at noon and he'd let us hit and do really cool stuff. I felt like I got to have the greatest dad and greatest childhood ever.
He said, Dad got the arm, I got the hair.
First pitch here from Dallas Keuchel is good for strike 1 to Adam Dunn, who has the only Chicago hit through the first 4. That was a bouncing single up the middle. Altuve's out in right field for Dunn. It's no balls, 2 strikes to Adam. Adam lives in the Woodlands now after growing up in Porter. It's 1-2, and of course he gave the UT quarterback scene a try for a while before opting to sign with the Cincinnati Reds.
When's the last time you heard of a bruising quarterback? He would have been one of those.
How would you like to bring him down? Struck out. That's number 3.
Well, Keuchel came back the first at bat with a fastball, left it out over the plate. This time goes to the breaking ball. That fastball got turned around for a base hit. The breaking ball yet to be handled.
Jeff Keppinger worked the count full before hitting a fly ball to right field in the 2nd inning. And Keppinger lays off. It's ball 1. Carlos Correa had a walk-off single for Quad City yesterday in a 6-5 win in game 1 of a doubleheader. Two balls, no strikes. Justin Maxwell is still on his injury rehab assignment after the broken bone in his left hand. He's playing still for AAA Oklahoma City. Now the infield shifts around. Now that the count goes to 2-0, Altuve moves to the shortstop side of second. 2 balls and a strike.
I don't know. I saw Jeff Keppinger last year with Tampa Bay, just spraying balls all over the lot.
That is his style. He's just one of those great contact hitters, but so far the numbers have not been Keppinger-like this year. Well, the White Sox as a team, .293 on base average. That's dead last in the American League. They have really struggled. They are last in runs scored with 233. Keppinger takes ball 3, and it's 3-2 to Jeff Keppinger.
Ronnie, you were talking about some of the minor leaguers. How about Brett Wallace and the job he's done since going back down to Oklahoma City, hitting .311, hit his 10th home run yesterday?
Say this for Brett: when demoted to the minor leagues, he does not hang his head and pout.
Boy, he had a lot to figure out when he left town. He was mired in a slump the likes of which I'm not sure I have ever seen before.
0 for 22.
Not just that, but the strikeouts that went along with it. It was amazing.
Right. Keuchel with ball 4 threw a close one for his 2nd walk. Didn't miss by much, but Keppinger's aboard.
Keuchel had walked just 2 over his last 3 starts. So to say that he has a couple of walks on the day says that maybe he's been a bit wild. And yet he has really been in the strike zone consistently.
Gordon Beckham struck out in the 2nd inning. Gordon was the 8th player drafted in the 08 draft. A star at the University of Georgia. He looks at strike 1. His father, Gordon Beckham, was a quarterback at South Carolina. And this Gordon Beckham was an all-state in football.
Can he bend it? Was he capable of bending it?
He could bend it like Beckham, yeah. Bouncer to first. It's bobbled by Pena. Pena will go back and take the out at first base with Keppinger going to second. He wanted the double play, but he settled for out number 2.
And it was going to be a probably tough double play to turn, but certainly that lead out could have been acquired. I think for Carlos Pena, this would fall in the category of rather routine.
Now runner at second for Tyler Flowers. Flowers was drafted in the 33rd round by Atlanta in 05. Traded in the Javier Vasquez deal for the White Sox after the 08 season. So the torch has been passed from A.J. Pierzynski to Tyler Flowers. Tyler's 27 years old. Fouls it back, strike 1. Now, Pierzynski has been the White Sox catcher for the previous 8 seasons, so it is kind of the end of an era for them behind the plate.
Yeah, it's tough when you're that guy that takes over at a key position like catcher, and suddenly your club starts losing. It points a lot of fingers at you.
Good point. It's in the air, foul. 0-2. There are a lot of things that go into losing, but yeah, generally people focus on, okay, what's different from last year when they were winning? Well, the catcher's different. That's one thing.
And with Pierzynski behind the plate, the White Sox had been pretty consistently solid team. I don't think anybody would have said A.J. Pierzynski was that get it all done behind the plate guy, but he was a nice combination with his offensive side.
Keuchel misses for ball one, and Pierzynski had his best offensive year last year.
Home run ball really came along for him.
Sure did. Yeah, he was not the perennial Gold Glover. In the dirt, and it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Tomorrow night in the finale of this series, it's a 7-10 start. Bud Norris and Jose Quintana will be the starting pitchers in that game. So it's 4 Chicago White Sox left-handed starting pitchers in a 4-game series. And they have not started 4 in a 4-game series prior to the 2 series ago when they did that against Oakland since 1980. It's 3-2. And now Dallas Keuchel, who walked Keppinger on a 3-2, will want to get Flowers here.
After a couple of strikes, Keuchel has missed on both sides of the plate now, right where he wanted. Well, that's spotting it very well.
I think a lot of fans are wondering what Jordan Baker saw to make that one ball 3. Time called.
We get that little bit of an angle. Any television broadcast, and it's tough to tell on that inside edge, but boy, it sure looked like a good one.
Now a little indecision perhaps, and the pitcher and catcher want to get together. When they started those 4 lefties 1980, they were Britt Burns, Steve Trout, Ross Baumgarten, and Rich Wortham. So unusual, though, to see all these lefties. The Astros are starting 2 lefties in this series, Eric Bedard and Dallas Keuchel. So in a 4-game series with 8 starting pitchers, 6 of the 8 are southpaws. And through last night, only 8% of the games played in the majors this year have featured a matchup of lefty against lefty. Foul ball. It's 85 out of 1,013 games, or 1 of every 12 games played, is lefty on lefty in the majors.
Log on to csnhouston.com and click on In-Game Live to enhance your Astros experience via computer, smartphone, or tablet. Get in-depth stats and join the social buzz. In-Game Live only on csnhouston.com.
White Sox have their first man of the day at second base. Keppinger awaiting the 3-2 pitch. Ground ball third. Matt Dominguez guns the throw over for the 3rd out. And in the middle of the 5th inning, the Astros lead the White Sox 3-0.
3-0 Astros. And June 29th, the Astros take on Albert Pujols, Mike Trout, and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim at 3:10. Be sure to get to the park early. 10,000 fans will receive a white home replica jersey, courtesy of Champion Energy Services. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS to get your tickets now, guys.
Oh, the white home jersey, Saturday, June 29th. Very nice, Julia. Thank you. Good promotion coming up with the Angels in town. Well, the Astros swept a 4-game series from the Angels. Could they be in the process of another one of those 4-game series sweeps?
Well, game 3 would be critical in that regard if they're going to get that done. But it's a club that's ready to be taken, the White Sox. No doubt about it, they've had their struggles.
Brandon Barnes comes around for the 3rd time. He grounded to 3rd, and Keppinger made a good diving play to get him in the 1st. He walked in the 2nd inning, and he made a spectacular catch in the 2nd on Viciedo. Shortening up on that one, he takes strike 1. Over second base and into center field, a looping single for Brandon Barnes. So he's on for the 2nd time in 3 tries today.
Great catch and a thumber, and you got yourself a day going. He just gets tied up on this breaking ball on the hands, but when you get tied up, that's a good way to do it.
Good way to untie yourself. Now let's see if he's chained to first base or what the plan might be here. Leadoff single. Jose Altuve, the batter. Altuve's grounded out to short and struck out.
I think with Altuve struggling a bit, it might be a good ploy to put a hit and run on, and sometimes that'll get a hitter out of a slump.
Strike 1 to Jose.
Jose says, I don't need a hit and run. I'm going to take a good cut right here, and he did.
He did. Like he was shooting for the right of second base on that swing. Santiago had a great start against the Mets back on May 7th. 7 shutout innings. But it was 0-0 when he left after 111 pitches. He's thrown 83 pitches so far through 4 innings plus. It's a pretty high count. Misses there for a 1-ball 1-strike count. Jose Altuve has seen the fewest pitches per plate appearance on average in the majors, 3.3.
I don't know how I would view that stat. Does that mean possibly that Altuve centers the ball up pretty well when he does swing and puts it in play?
Yeah, I think that's part of it. In the air behind second, and this one will hang for Ramirez. 1 out. That's a good point. You know, some guys will foul off pitches, but others will square them up and put them in play earlier in the count.
I wouldn't have any idea what, and I'll go way back, but a guy that's legendary, Joe DiMaggio, they used to talk about how few times he would strike out over the course of a season. I don't know what his pitch count might have been in any given at bat over the course of a year, because when he swung the bat, he put it in play with authority.
Jason Castro has grounded out and struck out looking. Looked like he was pretty displeased in the dugout after that strike 3 call in the 3rd inning. Jason said Friday he's not met Mark Appel yet, the Astros' first-round pick from Stanford. There's strike 1. There were rumors circulating that the Astros had reached agreement with Mark Appel, but that's been denied by Jeff Luhnow. And today is Appel's graduation day at Stanford. And apparently it was agreed all along that they would start to talk about a contract after today. Barnes drawing a little attention. He has 4 stolen bases in 9 attempts.
Well, it certainly has sounded like Mark Appel is very anxious to become a Houston Astro. Get that process done.
Yes, it does. Jeff Luhnow's on it. And David Stearns over there, the assistant GM. No balls, 2 strikes. Well, Mark Appel pitched about 100 innings in college baseball this year. So the Astros probably will really allow him to take his time before sending him out on a minor league assignment. He's going to need some time to get himself on the mound again. You know, presumably he's taking a break. We don't know that. Sounds as if he has some family trips planned. So why not take a little midsummer vacation before finishing the year in the minor leagues and without piling up too many innings. And this year at Corpus Christi, the Astros are still going with those starting assignments, with one pitcher being limited and then the other pitcher piggybacking on top of him. At AAA, the guys are being stretched out in the rotation there.
Didn't realize they were going to carry that this far into the season.
I didn't either.
And now, in terms of Appel and maybe getting a little time off, as a pitcher, that's a little bit tough as you're trying to keep that arm in shape. And so I don't know how you approach that with a pitcher. I would think you'd want to at least kind of have him around throwing as much as possible. Soak in the professional experience. It's quite different. It is that everyday experience, and a lot of arms have not grown up accustomed to that.
All the way, still 0-2.
You may start only once every 5 days, but you're out there throwing, and there's that process of getting the arm stronger and stronger.
Just looking over the innings pitched at Corpus Christi by the top guys on the hooks. David Martinez has 70 1/3. Bobby Doran 65 innings. Jake Buchanan has 71 1/3.
A lot of raving reviews on Martinez.
Yes. He's 9-1 with a 2.18 ERA. 1-2. So that would put them on a pace for what? 150 innings or so in a season. Depending on, well, they'll be in the playoffs, so they'll be adding some postseason innings if they stay healthy to that.
What's the percentage that teams talk about trying to add in terms of innings each year on a guy?
Usually maybe 10% over what they've done the year before. Looping fly ball, Viciedo over toward the line. It's a hit in front of him, and a looping single for Jason Castro makes it 1st and 2nd and 1 out.
Jason Castro continues to show improvement against all pitchers, but in particular against left-hand pitching. This was not easy, and with that slider staying up a bit, he was able to get the barrel to it. Also, didn't appear to be the most aggressive left field work by Viciedo.
Not at all. Not at all. He looks like a postman. Basketball type postman.
I see. I was trying to picture the letter bag on the shoulder and everything going on.
He looks like your NBA center type guy. Carlos Corcoran has struck out twice. One of many games for Bo Porter in which both catchers have been in the lineup. One is the DH and the other behind the plate. It's worked out well because Castro has been DHing more and more, and his bat has stayed in the lineup and stayed productive. Castro's DHing for the 9th time. Seemed like more than that. Corcoran has DH'd only once.
Corcoran really likes to take these strolls around the home plate area. Love to see more guys stay in there and make the game move.
No balls, 2 strikes. Well, several years ago there was a push to limit hitters to keeping 1 foot in the batter's box at all times.
I don't understand why baseball has gotten away from things like that. You brought up, and I thought some great stuff the other day about the 12-second rule for a pitcher in the rules to deliver a pitch. It's not even considered anymore. And then if he has to do that, where's the hitter? If he's going to go take a stroll, just keep him in the box and keep the game moving. Great stuff when baseball's played.
It really can be moved along quicker than it is currently, without any need for rules being negotiated with the Players Association. Those rules are on the books right now.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Foul ball. Beckham, the second baseman, was really jockeying with a runner there at second. Barnes moving back and forth, keeping very active and trying to cut into Barnes' lead. And with one out, this would be a situation in which Brandon Barnes would possibly be thinking of stealing third. So that gives Corcoran a little bit more room on the right side of the infield, the way Beckham is playing right now. Not too far from second base. Now he's getting a little closer. He's really dancing around. Now he's at the base, and I think he distracted Santiago, and then time was called by Corcoran. Now Beckham actually went to second base that time. So the White Sox seem to be really concerned about Barnes stealing third.
At the very least, as an infielder does this, you're trying to cut down on that lead, the secondary lead that enables a guy to score on a base hit.
Last night, Barnes had the RBI double in the fifth inning, and then he did try to steal third, and the White Sox threw him out. It's 1-2. You see these right-handed batters leaning out over the plate. Santiago throwing the off-speed pitches outside to them quite often today. And a swing and a miss takes care of out number 2 for Santiago. That's his 7th strikeout.
Just a fastball blown up and in. And we saw in the first at bat for Corcoran, the first of his 3 strikeouts today. Had the fastball thrown over the bat.
.95 pitches already for Hector, facing Chris Carter, who had singled on one of those pitches and doubled on another one. Carter takes a look at it, and it's ball 1.
It's a third 3-strikeout game for Carlos Corcoran here in his last 7 played.
First Astro to have 14 homers by June 15th since 2008. Lance Berkman was one of those who did that in 2008. And Carlos Lee hit 14 that year. Berkman had 19 by June 15th, 2008. 2 balls, no strikes. And that's a nice early season pace for Chris. And now he'll be looking over this 2-0 pitch with malice in mind. Not enough malice. 2-1.
That inside corner sometimes will make you forget about the malice or whatever intent you may have.
That's true. Good point.
It just freezes you.
Well, I could see why a right-handed hitter would be looking out over the plate the way Santiago's been working him. So the inside location could be that surprise element for Santiago. Now 3-1. In his 6 starts this year, Santiago's 2-2 with a 2.67 ERA. He, Chris Sale, and Jose Quintana, tomorrow night starters, are the only lefty trio ages 25 and under to be starting in the same major league rotation, according to the Elias Sports Bureau. The White Sox have the makings of a good rotation for years to come. Jake Peavy currently on the disabled list for them, right-hander. Now 3-2. And this battle has gotten very interesting.
Well, I can officially cast my vote for loving what I saw from Chris Sale, the lefty, in Game 1 here in the series.
That was magnificent stuff. Friday night, and a tough luck loss brought his record to 5-5. He became the third pitcher in the last 100 years to lose a game while striking out 14 or more and allowing no earned runs. Complete game loss for Chris Sale Friday night. Runners go, and it's strike 3. Santiago comes up with strikeout number 8, and it's no runs, 2 hits, 2 left, 3-0 Astros.
I'd like to wish every dad out there happy Father's Day, and to my dad, Feliz Dia de los Padres.
Just want to say happy Father's Day to my dad. A lot of memorable moments of him working with me playing baseball and got me to where I am now.
3-0 Astros as we go to the 6th, and we want to remind you to tune into Chevy Hometown Kids every Saturday morning at 9:30 on CSN. Chevy Hometown Kids, where it's not about the score, but the experience. And we welcome them back out to the family section where I have Mr. Dominguez. Fernando Dominguez, this is Matt's dad who came in from California. Matt with the 3-run double in the second. What kind of fan are you? Did you get pretty excited over that?
Of course. I would say he's excited. You know, it's a little nerve-wracking when he's up at the plate with the bases loaded, but once you see the ball go in the corner and you see the run scoring, it's great.
You said you watch all the games. What have you thought about his progress this year and what Matt's been able to do this season?
I think he's holding his own. I think he's doing well. Obviously, defensively, he can play. But offensively, he's coming around. And I think the more he sees Major League pitching, the better he's going to get at it, and he's going to get more comfortable.
He said you used to hit him some grounders when he was little. So we owe all that smooth defensive plays to you, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to take that much credit. I think you owe a lot of his baseball playing ability to his mom, you know, who was a very good softball player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, and happy Father's Day. Enjoy this time with Matt. Brownie.
Thank you very much.
Good visit, Julia. There's a line shot into right center field. Alejandro De Aza will get to third base on this one. Barnes picks it up now, drops it. De Aza keeps churning, and it's going to be a stand-up triple for him. Even with the Barnes bobble, it would have been a triple had he handled it cleanly. So De Aza gets his first triple of the year, and that gives the White Sox their first man as far as third base.
Yeah, trying to come in on the inside corner, didn't quite get it there, and the ball shot into the gap in right center field. And De Aza, that leadoff man for the White Sox, runs well.
Joe McEwing has his first customer of the day. in this 3-0 game. De Aza, with his first triple since September 19th last year, is there at third for Alexi Ramirez. Ball one to Ramirez, who's grounded out and hit a fly ball to right. Dallas Keuchel had allowed only one single through the first 5 innings. He had walked 2. It's a 1-1 count. His pitch count is low, 77 pitches. His mound opponent, Santiago's thrown 101 through 5 innings. Fly ball out to left center field. Barnes cruising over. He'll try a long throw to the plate on the tag, but De Aza will get home and make it 3-1. And the sac fly by Ramirez, his 14th run batted in. De Aza scoring for the 35th time.
Brandon Barnes at center field really had no shot, but he tried to give himself a shot as he backed away from this ball and then really moved into it on the catch. Get a peek at the way you handle it when you're a major league outfielder. Stay back behind the ball and now come and get it and have everything moving toward the plate on the throw.
He did what he could do. There's strike one to Rios now. Rios has walked and flied to first baseman. Carlos Pena made a good play up the right field line on him. In fact, out in front of the off speed pitch, it goes to 0-2. De Aza stirred up some trouble for the Astros. He got home with run number 1 for the Sox. They trailed 3-1. That's out to right center field. Trevor Crowe handing out number 2. But Keuchel has come right back after the triple and gotten the next 2 outs. Earlier this season, Astros starting pitchers were giving up those big innings early in games, and they have really whittled those down to a minimum here in the last month. Paul Konerko has grounded out twice in this game. Konerko DHing, as he does most of the time. Gets this one out toward right. Trevor Crowe waiting here as well. 3 fly ball outs in the inning for Dallas Keuchel, and a 3-1 Astros lead. Painter's tape. Scotch Blue, see what you can do. See what Carlos Pena can do on this pop-up. Up the right field line, he ranges far from first base and waves off the other fielders. He knew he had it all the way after that long run to get Alex Rios. And now as he comes up here, he leads off the bottom of the 6th inning. He's walked and scored in the 2nd on the 3-run double by Matt Dominguez and struck out in the 3rd. Santiago comes back out for the 6th with 101 pitches through 5. Pena looks at that one. Ball 1 to Carlos, who has a .477 slugging percentage against left-handed pitching. That's 128 percentage points higher than his slugging percentage against right-handers. He's joined select company. Sidearm delivery, 1-1. Only 3 other lefty hitters have hit that much higher in slugging against left-handed pitchers.
Drop down and bring the high cheese and slip it on by.
Yeah. Alex Gordon, Dominic Brown, and Prince Fielder are those other 3 left-handed batters to slug so much better against lefties than righties this year.
I'm really surprised to hear that number. I had seen it earlier.
Drive near the left field foul pole. Viciano back, and this is a foul ball. But Pena, trying to go oppo, wound up just foul with strike 2.
Carlos has plenty of power going the other way. Back in the spring, he was really working on this opposite field drive.
That's true. You and Jeff Blum got a good look at that.
You were out scouting at the time, right?
Yes. Nate Jones is warming up the bullpen, a right-hander for the White Sox. You and Blummer picked up on a lot of those early trends.
Of course, early trends don't always hang in there. And one trend that has really changed for Carlos Pena, that figure you talked about, the last 3 years combined, he was about 100 points almost, not quite, 100 points lower from against left-handers in that slugging than against righties.
Interesting bouncer, and on through past Beckham. He tried to backhand it on the run. Pena gets to first base, takes the turn there. And Pena with a good approach. The bouncer up the middle caused Beckham to move to his right and try to come up with it quickly, and failed to do so.
One of the folks with the White Sox, day 1 of this series, talking about best second baseman maybe defensively in the American League, Beckham. But it doesn't show up on this play.
In fact, it shows up as his 2nd error of the year. That was one of those in-between calls. Trevor Crowe hit a fly ball to right in the 4th. He walked and scored in the 2nd, but if he comes up with it, he gets him easily, right?
Yeah, that's true. Not an easy play, as you say.
Crowe takes a look at ball 1.
You know, that's where that speedy guy benefits almost all the time. If a guy that runs really well hits that very same ground ball, he'll get the benefit of the nod right there and get the base hit.
See if Pena might go in motion here. He draws a throw. Last night, after he was hit by a pitch with 2 outs in the 2nd inning, he took off, and Cedeno sent him home with an RBI double. But I think with Santiago with 8 strikeouts, that would be the fears. A swing and a miss and a caught stealing. Strike makes him 1-1. The Astros hoping here that the 6th inning Santiago will be more vulnerable with 108 pitches under his belt. And Jones warming up in the bullpen as Robin Ventura tries to coax just a little bit more out of Santiago here. He's going, and here's the throw. It sails. Beckham with the tag in the game. Pena's caught stealing from 2 to 4 for out number 1.
Makes me wonder if there was a hit and run right here.
Yeah.
Watch Trevor Crowe.
Well, yeah.
You know, your responsibility as a hitter is to swing no matter where the pitch is on a hit and run. That's awfully tough to tell. Now, for me, had the White Sox not gotten this out right here, you certainly could argue interference there. Catchers are always told by umpires, go ahead and make contact, physical contact with that hitter if he steps across the plate. As Trevor reached the bat across, I couldn't tell, but he may have crossed onto the plate with the feet. But if you don't make contact, they're not going to call it.
Trevor certainly made a late jab stroke attempt.
Yeah, I think if he was actually trying to hit that baseball, we're going to need a little more batting practice. Yeah.
That's one of those, I was supposed to swing at this.
Yeah.
Swings, right?
I have a feeling that's the case. Otherwise, there's no reason for Trevor to reach out and do that.
My guess would be a missed sign, as you suggested might have happened.
Either missed sign or Trevor knew it and just thought, oh, I can't handle that pitch. But then that not motto, but the phrase comes into your mind that swing at everything, you've got to handle it.
Well, and we look at the third walk for Santiago, but correct me if I'm wrong, the fourth walk for Santiago. On a hit and run, are you not obligated to swing at the ball? If it's over your head, maybe not.
And that's exactly where I was going with it is, as a hitter, once that hit and run's put on, it's your responsibility. Swing it, even if the pitch is at your head. Find a way.
Robin Ventura out to make this pitching change. We'll be right back.
Have fun with Astros baseball. Whether you're treating your employees, hosting clients, or bringing out your church or your youth group, we'll create an experience your group is sure to remember. Call 1-877-9-ASTROS or visit Astros.com to enjoy special pricing and great benefits by reserving your group or suite today.
Right-hander Nate Jones comes out of the bullpen. He is 6'5", 27 years old. The Chicago White Sox bullpen has been terrific in the month of June with a 2.30 ERA. Robin Ventura out to make the pitching change, taking Santiago out of the game after 5 1/3 innings. His club trailing 3-1. Runner at first, Trevor Crow, 1 out, and it's Nate Jones who pitched in last night's game, 1 hitless inning.
28th appearance already, but the ERA at 5.08. 13 walks in 33 2/3 innings. Certainly a figure you would be intrigued with.
Well, lately his results have been much better than those seasonal numbers you saw. 1-0 with 7 2/3 scoreless innings and 13 strikeouts in his last 6 games. And there's ball 1 to Matt Dominguez, who ripped the 3-run double into the left field corner in the second and lined to right in the fourth. Just picked up the announcement on Twitter that starting tomorrow, Minute Maid Park gates will open 2 hours prior to the game. That'll be a half an hour earlier than they have been opening. Runner goes, and that one's hit sharply foul. So the Astros are not giving up on starting runners in this inning, despite the caught stealing by Pena.
Don't know if this was a hit and run, but I think it may have been, based on the fact that Matt Dominguez offers on a fastball clearly out of the strike zone, up and in.
This might be one of those let's try it until we get it right type innings.
Clearly the first time they didn't get it right.
1-2.
That's a tough-looking slider right there. Location was awfully good.
Jones is from Covington, Kentucky. He went to Northern Kentucky University, and he was drafted in the 5th round in 07 by the Sox. Last year, he was 8-0 with a 2.39 ERA and 65 appearances for them. Foul back. Still 1-2 to Matt Dominguez. Well, this has been some kind of a Father's Day game. Dominguez doing so well with a 3-run double. And Barnes has been on base twice and made that fantastic catch in center field. Keuchel, 6 solid innings so far. The Astros are promoting Jonathan Singleton to AAA Oklahoma City. That word just in. That's being carried on the internets today, Ash. Invented by Al Gore.
The internets?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Al and company did a fine job there. I rely on it myself. Or them, or whatever it is.
Dominguez strikes out, and that's out number 2.
I like the 2 hours before opening the gates for batting practice. I think as a fan, to come on out and have that opportunity is just a golden one.
Yeah, it really is. You see the riding action on that strikeout pitch. A lot of fans have remarked, you know, those who are able to come out early, and it's a 7:10 start, so we're talking about what, talking about 5:10. You'll catch the end of Astros batting practice in those few minutes after 5:10. And a lot of fans who wouldn't be allowed to come in until 5:40 would say, well, I only get to see the visiting team hit. Marwin Gonzalez is 0 for 2. This one gets away, and here's the throw from Flowers. It's a little bit offline, and good base running by Crow. That ball was not very far away from Flowers, but Crow was able to get the read and move to second.
Yeah, that slider in the dirt kicks away. It'll be a wild pitch. Pretty good reaction by Flowers, and put his throw right on the money. Wasn't the greatest of blocking techniques.
Good strong arm. Wild pitch. And Crow's in scoring position with a 1-0 count. Now Marwin Gonzalez has a 2-ball no strike count.
Yeah, there used to be the day when teams took infield practice following their batting practice, and you could watch your home club that way. But I really like the notion of being able to come out as a real fan and watch your team take batting practice.
2 balls and a strike to Marwin Gonzalez.
And if you're not a huge fan, come on out and give it a try, and you just might become a big fan.
I'm going to check the numbers of Jonathan Singleton at AA Corpus Christi. He's now on his way, according to reports, to AAA Oklahoma City. Broken bat roller. Alexi Ramirez to his left. The throw in the dirt dug out by Dunn. And in the 6th inning, no runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left. 3-1 Astros. interesting matchup. It's brought to you by Chevron. Care for your car. Riding in that car are lefty Jose Quintana and righty Bud Norris. Bud with a 3.47 ERA. Quintana 3.86. Looks like a good matchup for tomorrow night's finale of the series.
Bud Norris has been really good. Way better than 5 and 6 would tell you.
Yeah. Now Dallas Keuchel leading 3-1 moves to the 7th inning. Diane Viciedo looks at ball 1. He is 0 for 2 in this game. Twice the Astros have made fantastic plays to get him out. In the 2nd inning, that deep drive to center caught by Barnes. In the 4th inning, Marwin Gonzalez. Now he lines this one to the right field corner. And that one scoots directly to the right. Now Karam's off the wall, gets by Crow. Viciedo's going to stretch it out and try for third. And he'll make it as Altuve did not make the throw on to third base. Looked like he couldn't get a grip on it. Looked like a bit of a risky decision, but Viciedo makes it to third.
Yeah, I was surprised that he took off for third base. As the throw came back in from right, maybe a little bit of a skidding short hop catching Altuve where he didn't make a clean grab and then move it onto the right hand. But ball kicking around, and that always makes it tough. Maybe loping for the first couple of steps around first, but it's that time from second to third where you see guys time and time again just turn it on.
Yeah. Now big Adam Dunn with strike 1. He has a single and a strikeout. So that's a triple for Viciedo. Earlier Diaz had tripled. 2 triples in 2 innings for the White Sox among their 3 hits in this game. Strike 2 to Dunn. Over half of his career hits have gone for extra bases. Jose Cisnero warming up for the Astros.
Those leadoff triples will pretty close to guarantee a club scoring a run in an inning, and the Astros in a tight ball game like this don't find themselves in a good spot to give up runs here.
Dunn strikes out.
Right back to that breaking ball from the lefty Keuchel to get the strikeout.
Number 4 for Dallas.
Again, it was the first at bat, 2nd inning, where Dunn, with a couple of strikes on him, got a fastball and hit it back up the middle. Since then, breaking balls with 2 strikes and polishing him off.
Cisnero working, Keppinger batting. Keppinger has fly to right and walked. Both times the count has been full on him. That's strike 1 on the 88th pitch for Keuchel. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Dallas Keuchel shooting for win number 4 of the year. He retired 9 in a row between the 2nd inning single by Dunn and a 5th inning walk to Keppinger. Now it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Santiago worked 5 1/3. He allowed 6 hits, 3 runs to the Astros, making 5 hits and 3 runs. We'll have to check that. Yeah, that should be right. 4 walks and 8 strikeouts. The Astros have a winning record in Keuchel's 7 starts. They're 4-3 with him the starting pitcher this year. Now 3-1 to Keppinger. Now checking Jonathan Singleton's numbers at AA Corpus Christi. 263 batting average, 8 homers, 20 runs batted in. A 922 OPS for Singleton, who's on the move now, headed for AAA Oklahoma City. Line drive hit, and it's a 3-2 ball game. Keppinger coming through with RBI number 18 for the White Sox, scoring Viciedo.
Looked like Keuchel and Corcoran tried to come in right there. Maybe didn't quite get it in enough. When he's on his game, Keppinger can swing the stick.
Viciedo, who tripled, scores, and now a 3-2 ball game finds Beckham batting. Beckham struck out and he grounded out. Jonathan Singleton will be scheduled to start at first base tonight for Oklahoma City against Round Rock, that game in Oklahoma City, and he'll be batting 5th for the Red Hawks. Carlos Corcoran out. 92 pitches for Keuchel. And he may have been sent out to buy some time for Cisnero.
Well, he bought time just walking slowly to the mound. And at this point, it's time for the home plate umpire to cease the discussion with the catcher and say, let's go back and play some baseball.
Certainly is bonus time with anything that Dallas might be able to deliver from this point on. He's put his club in a great position with 6 1/3 innings, a 4-hit 2-run ball, walking 2 and fanning 4. And that will be the extra time Bo Porter was looking for to allow Cisnero a few extra warm-up tosses. He will not ask any more of Dallas Keuchel, who's in a position to be a winner for the 4th time, but still a lot of important bullpen work to be done. And the way the White Sox pen has been pitching this year, the Astros probably feel that they need some really good work from that right arm, which you're about to see in just a moment. Continues to throw a lot of strikes, Ash.
He does that, and that pitch count would tell you what he did today in terms of getting ahead on the hitters, getting hitters to put it into play and make outs. Dallas Keuchel, another very strong outing. How about the defensive gem there by Marwin Gonzalez? And when it's all said and done, Dallas Keuchel has to be very happy with the way things are working now as he is stringing fine start after fine start.
And now it's Jose Cisnero taking over after 92 pitches for Dallas and those fine numbers. Cisnero with a runner at first and 1 out will face Gordon Beckham. He's 1-0 with a 2.54 ERA. He's walked only 6 in 28 1/3 innings. There's a liner into right field for a hit. Kappicher turns and heads for third base on the single by Beckham, who went for that first offering from Cisnero. And now the White Sox are set up with 1st and 3rd 1 out for Flowers.
It kind of falls into the no-brainer category as a hitter. Guy comes in from the pen. What's he going to throw on the first pitch? Well, probably a great chance it's going to be a fastball, and just jump on it and drill it to right.
Now Keuchel's win is on the line here, and he's turning away from the field. It's certainly a sticky situation here with a potential tying run at 3rd and 1 out. Connor Gillespie, a left-handed hitter, makes his way toward the plate to pinch hit for Tyler Flowers. Gillespie at 249 has 4 homers, 14 runs batted in. He is 0 for 3 as a pinch hitter this season. He's had a lot of work at third base. He's had 169 at bats.
This is get me a double play time.
Yes, it is. Gillespie pinch hit in the 9th inning Friday night. Hit a fly ball to center field against Jose Veras. play depth for Marwin Gonzalez and Jose Altuve. The Astros lead the American League in double plays with 81. That's in the dirt for ball one. Astros had very sound bullpen work again last night. It was Clemens, Wright, Ambriz, and Veras combining for the last 2 1/3 innings. Gave up 1 hit, no runs in the 4-3 win, and they were effective in the 2-1 win Friday night as well, with scoreless relief work for Cisnero, Blackley, and Veras. Throw goes over to first. Cisnero has worked his way into more and more of these tight situations. When he came in Friday night, it was a 1-run lead in the 7th inning, 2-1. He went 1 1/3, gave up 3 hits, no runs. Gillespie lays off, and that works the count to 2-0 now.
I think for Dallas Keuchel, this is awfully tough to watch. The fastball just starts running away.
Got to be tough to watch with a 1-run lead. He's pitched so well.
Of course, he knows that he created this mess.
Gillespie's gone 2 for his last 28 over the previous 10 games. He fouls that one away, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count.
That 2-0 pitch isn't going to get you many ground balls for the double play.
No, it's not quite going downward enough, is it? Gillespie started 48 games at third base. He's a former San Francisco Giant. It's not close, and it's 3 balls and a strike with De Aza on deck. Connor Gillespie's from Omaha, Nebraska. Went to Wichita State, which has made the trip to Omaha several times for the College World Series. Gillespie with 42 hits leads All-American League rookies. How's that one? Now it's a full count. Things get really interesting now.
Very nice short stroke. Hands in position, just stay there and quick to the ball. Yeah, I can see why he's been able to amass that number of hits.
White Sox in pinch hitting assignments are 2 for 19 with no runs batted in. We've had nothing but close ball games in this series. 2 1-run decisions Friday night, last night. Now another 1-run ball game here in the 7th. White Sox have played 24 games decided by a 1-run. The Astros have played 21 of those.
Won't find many hitters that don't wear a batting glove or two.
Yeah, they're rare, aren't they?
Bare hands and going after that pine tar, reminding me a bit of George Brett back in the day.
Runner going. And it's ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Beckham took off. And there's the walk to load the sacks for De Aza now. It's walk for Gillespie. De Aza's 1 for 3, a triple in the 6th inning. Hector Jimenez is the other catcher for the White Sox. Flowers left for the pinch hitter. Now bases loaded situation for Cisnero. Piazza has bounced into 2 double plays. He's had 248 at bats. Carlos Corcoran positioning the infielders where he wants them. Pena and Dominguez are pinching in at the corners to be able to throw home for a force play on Keppinger. Piazza looks at it. It's ball 1.
Some days you have it, some days you don't. I would say right now, Cisnero doesn't look like he has that grizzly alive fastball he'll have at times.
Doug Brocail hopes he can come up with something here. Fouled away. 1-1.
He's at 92 on the heater right there. When we've seen him at his best, 95, even plus.
Now that's the challenge of working more often in relief, as he has been doing with the Astros, compared to being a starting pitcher in the minor leagues for the most part. Piazza went for it, and that's a big pitch to make it 1-2.
Talk about big. You get a strikeout right here, and you come up with an enormous one.
And Diaz's hitting .400 with runners in scoring position. 22 runs batted in. Good Father's Day crowd at Minute Maid Park watching a 3-2 game. Fouled away.
Well, he goes to the well and comes up at 96 on that fastball. Carlos Corcoran was not sure what he would say after that heater. That was pure gas.
Last night it was Paul Clemens coming in relief of Lucas Harrell in the 7th inning. With a couple of men on base and a 1-run lead. He got a strikeout of Piazza. Swing and a miss. Piazza strikes out here for out number 2.
Right back in 95. So apparently he was not running on fumes, just conserving until the moment where he had the shot for the strikeouts. Blowing the high heater right on by.
That's impressive. Now the infielders can drop back to their 2-out depth as Alexi Ramirez bats. He's 0 for 2 with a sac fly. Each club has 5 hits. The White Sox have the only error. Alexi's hit .211 with men in scoring position.
If the Astros hang on and win, look back to that strikeout of Piazza.
Well, especially coming right after a walk. It's ball 1. And looking at the situation last night with Clemens and today with Cisnero, both these guys have broken into these roles during the season. Matt Thornton, a lefty's warming up for the Sox. Check swing, Cisnero over. What a job by Jose Cisnero. Bases loaded, 1 out. He struck out Piazza. He got Ramirez on a comebacker. The fans rise for their 7th inning stretch with the Astros up by 1, 3-2.
7th. Excuse me. We welcome you back, and we are taking a look at some of the minor league teams for the Houston Astros because they're doing an excellent job. Check it out. The Redhawks tied for first. Nice record there. And then Corpus Christi, Lancaster both in first, clinching the first half title. Quad Cities tied for third. And then let's take a look at some of the all-stars from this team. Lancaster with 4, sitting 4, including Preston Tucker, the outfielder who's been on a tear the first half of the season. And then Corpus Christi, 6 hooks have been tagged Texas League South All-Stars. Catcher Rene Garcia and outfielder George Springer will actually start in the All-Star game, and that is coming up June 25th. And Brownie was talking about Jonathan Singleton earlier. He is being promoted to AAA Oklahoma City. He will actually start at first base today for the Redhawks, and he will bat 5th. So they are throwing him in there, Brownie.
They renamed him Jonathan Homerton at Corpus Christi, by the way, Julia, but you knew that.
That's right.
Well, good crowd here. Julia's been able to mix and mingle with the dads of the Astros players today along the way in this crowd. Fans enjoying singing deep in the heart of Texas here during their 7th inning stretch. We don't always get to show this, so this is a Father's Day special.
Nice touch at the ballpark. Yeah. Of course, what we don't get to show is your fine toss of the Cracker Jacks here at the yard.
Well, you know, that's fun to see those little kids.
You have maintained that power arm through the years. How do you do it?
You just drop it to a little kid. It's not that tough.
Well done.
You know, we do have a lot of cute little kids here on this Father's Day. Special treat. Give Dad what he wants, a baseball game. And we see a lot of other folks and families enjoying as well as the dads today.
Give him a manicure set, though, so he doesn't have to chew the nails off here at these tight games.
Hector Jimenez comes in to do the catching now after Tyler Flowers left for the pinch hitter Gillespie in the top of the inning. Jimenez, a former Astros farmhand, and he gets down into his squat position as Brandon Barnes leads it off in the home 7th inning. Barnes has a single and a walk today. And there's strike 1 from Nate Jones. We've got a couple of outs, striking out Dominguez and getting Gonzalez on a grounder. Keuchel goes 6 1/3. He allows 4 hits, 2 runs, walking 2, fanning 4. Bouncer shortstop Alexi Ramirez. Oh, he just barely got it over there ahead of Barnes. 1 out. So just more quality work for Dallas Keuchel. He continues to string together outstanding starting pitching performances. Last time out, a tough 3-2 loss for him. He gave up just 1 earned run in 6. Tables could turn for him today. White Sox, though, will have their 3, 4, 5 hitters due up in the 8th inning, so the Astros look for insurance runs here in their 7th with Jose Altuve batting. Hector Ambrose warming up for Houston. Altuve's 0 for 3.
Last time Keuchel got touched up against the Oakland A's, May 26th, right here, allowed 6 earned runs in that ballgame in 6 innings. But since then, 4th straight start now in which he has been very good.
What's been so surprising that this turnaround happened to several of the starters at the same time.
Yeah, I was going to say earlier in the ballgame, you have to believe that Doug Brocail is at the heart and center of that, getting a number of guys to respond at one time.
He was saying the other night after the game, Friday night, he thinks that in general the pitchers are throwing more strikes, whether they wear capes or not, to the mound.
I don't know if that cape helps out there at all, but I'm sure anybody'd be willing to try if they thought it would.
Bouncer in the hole. Alexi slides, gets up, and makes a low throw, safe at first. Adam Dunn fails to dig it out of the dirt. Altuve should get credit for a hit on this because Ramirez really had to rush that throw.
Sure do like what Alexi Ramirez does defensively with the footwork, planting that right foot as he slides into it. That brings him immediately coming up and throwing. But to throw it in the dirt, always leaving yourself subject to that whiff on the chance to pick one. Good looking move, though, at shortstop.
Sure was.
Altuve really gets down the line.
And Altuve got a hit on that. Now we'll get a pitching change. Robin Ventura wants lefty on lefty. Jason Castro due up next. He's had Matt Thornton warming up. The Astros are up 3-2 back in a moment.
1 out. Astros on top 3-2. MLB.com at Bat is the #1 source for live baseball everywhere you go. Available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At Bat delivers Astros baseball with live audio, pitch tracking, stats, news, highlights, and more. Text at Bat to 31826 or visit Astros.com for details. Guys.
Thanks, Julia. Lefty Matt Thornton comes out of the White Sox bullpen. He is their lone left-handed reliever. And he's been a good one down through the years since being drafted as a first-rounder by Seattle in '98.
36 years of age now. Still has that big fastball. He's always been able to go out there and hump heaters, throw it by hitters, allowing just about a hit an inning, not walking many. Strikeouts are down, so at his tender age, maybe having that fastball fall off a bit.
And that tender age is 36. He's listed at 6'6". Jason Castro, the batter, he's 1 for 3. He poked a single to left off Santiago in the 5th inning. Altuve, the base runner, he takes off, swing and a miss. The throw is high from Jimenez. Safe. Altuve gets his 12th steal. He wasted no time in testing the arm of Hector Jimenez.
Good read by Altuve because Jimenez didn't do a bad job here. Right there, gone on first move, and then really digging in. And that throw just a bit high. Otherwise, if they get it down around the bag, might have the shot.
Great replay of how Altuve was just barely safe. Pitch was strike 1 to Castro. Altuve now in scoring position. And a turn back towards second base. Well, Thornton is tied for 3rd in holds with 14 in the American League. Ramon Troncoso is warming up in the bullpen now. But now with the Sox down by 1, Robin Ventura's club really desperate to get things rolling. With a record of 28 and 37, he's just trying to hold it close until the 8th. Strike makes it 0-2.
With that look from Castro, maybe back to the home plate umpire. I can't hit it. You think you can?
Thornton's been around for years with the White Sox. He just made his 500th career appearance with them last Sunday. In the dirt for a ball.
Ozzie Guillen tried at times to make Thornton the closer, and it just never seemed to fully work out. For a long time, he's had closer type stuff.
He joined them in '06 from Seattle in a trade. Needs only 28 more strikeouts to match the legendary Hoyd Wilhelm for the club record for the White Sox by a reliever. Lefties are hitting 150 against Thornton.
Hasn't placed as many catchers in insane asylums. Hoyd Wilhelm.
Oh boy.
He's kind of the name that I associate with knuckleball back when I became a fan of the game.
Yeah. That was long before you ever contemplated catching that pitch.
Well, I never contemplated that.
It wouldn't be anything anyone would want to contemplate.
No, I chose not to.
That's rocked toward the left field wall. Back in the corner for Castro. It's slicing, and that's a home run. A 2-run homer for Jason Castro. Well, he had never hit a homer off a left-handed pitcher until last night when he connected off Danks. And now just a few hours later, he hits a second home run off a left-handed pitcher. 2 more runs home, and the Astros lead it 5-2.
Go ahead, bring in the lefty, make my day. Well, Jason Castro becomes awfully valuable now if he can start swinging the bat like this against left-handers. How about that?
That hit the foul pole, didn't it?
Right up off that foul pole. Good call.
Doink. More chicken sandwiches. Carlos Corpora in the batter now. Bounce to shortstop. Alexi Ramirez. Takes care of out number 2. So the 2-run shot by Castro is his 10th of the year. Most by an Astros catcher since Mitch Molesky back in 2000. And before yesterday had not gone deep. Now 2 homers in 2 games against left-handed pitching. And he, like Chris Carter last night, rewards all the fans here at the ball game who take their ticket stubs into a Chick-fil-A restaurant tomorrow. They'll get a free chicken sandwich.
Hit that home run on a fastball. I wonder if the scouts that watch every ball game mark that and inform their clubs. Bringing a left-hander to face Castro, he has become very good. He can handle the fastball. Make sure and find out before you give him a heater what he can do with the breaking ball.
In the dirt to Carter. Carter has 2 hits today. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, that's a big 2 runs, Brownie.
Makes it 5-2. Well, you go back to the strikeout you talked about on De Aza, with the bases loaded for out number 2 in the top of the inning, and now this 2-run homer, this 7th inning has really provided a swing. Now let's see with the home plate umpire Jordan Baker getting some attention from Rex Jones, the assistant athletic trainer for the Astros, coming out to work with Baker.
I didn't see where he got it.
Nope.
Big guy. And toughing it out. He's not doing any kneeling or showing anybody where he might have gotten hit. See if this ball comes up. Yeah, right up underneath that mask. I was looking to see if he might raise his chin. You don't want to do that. Keep the chin down. Oh boy. Yeah, that'll mess up your afternoon. Yeah, if anything, when you see a pitch in the dirt, if you're a catcher or umpire, push that chin downward.
Hopefully he can order a Father's Day dinner after the game.
You can probably order it. Whether he can eat it or not is going to be the real question.
2 balls and a strike. Phil Boudreau suggesting soup for a meal tonight.
No soup for you.
Fouled away. Mitch Molesky hit 14 homers as the Astros catcher in 2000. Jason Castro has 10 already before the halfway mark of this season.
Well, Jason's starting to look really good with that possibility.
People will be scrambling back to the days of John Bateman. Swing and a foul ball. And that's a strikeout, actually. And it's 5-2 as Castro goes deep on the left field foul pole. Astros lead it and into the 8th.
Tan hermoso el día de hoy, feliz Día del Padre, en especial a mi padre y a todos los padres aquí en Estados Unidos y en México.
Edgar Gonzalez there. Meanwhile, here is Trevor Crow. He's moved from right field to left field. And Chris Carter coming out of the game after going 2 for 4. Jimmy Paredes comes in to play right field. And the Astros lead at 5-2 with Hector Ambriz coming in the game for the 8th inning.
Ambriz, 29 years of age, in his 33rd appearance. Boy, he has been a workhorse along with Wesley Wright, who's at 32 presently. 35 hits allowed in 27 2/3 innings. That is an area of concern. You want to shave that down a long ways, and you can see left-hand hitters doing a lot of the damage, hitting .409.
He got one key out in last night's game, retiring Jeff Keppinger with a 1-run lead in the 8th inning and a couple of men on base. Travis Blackley warming up. Alex Rios the batter. And there's strike 1 to Rios. He's 0 for 2 with a walk. So Ambriz fits along with these other guys. Cisnero, Clemens, Wesley Wright worked last night into the setup situation in the late innings. Diving play. Dominguez grabs the baseball, throws low. It's safe at first. And Rios is able to leg it out for an infield hit to open the 8th inning for the White Sox.
Alex Rios simply runs too well. If you don't come up with this cleanly, you're not going to get him. A terrific stop on the diving play there by Dominguez. Rios getting on the backside of his playing career, but still runs well.
He's aboard for Paul Konerko. Konerko is 0 for 3. That was hit number 6 for the Sox. The Astros have 7. And there's strike 1 for Hector Ambriz. Cisnero went 2/3 of an inning, allowing 1 hit, no runs, walking 1, fanning 1. Dallas Keuchel went the first 6 1/3, giving up 2 runs. Ambriz had not allowed an earned run or a walk in 11 of 12 outings coming into this one. That's in for strike 2. Konerko pretty unhappy about that call.
I'm really surprised because it looked like a quality pitch.
Well, he shrugs it off.
You give that nod of assent. Okay. But I still didn't think it was anywhere close.
Right.
You have to finish off your commentary before you're done.
And apparently he's left it on a good tone, which players try to do when they are in possession of all their faculties. What? But it's about snap time of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, prior to losing all those faculties. Yeah.
And we saw that in that Dodger Diamondback game. And yeah, this is that time of year when players can snap.
We haven't even hit the dog days yet.
No.
But you're around 70 games played now. In fact, this is number 70 for the Astros.
Sure is. That got here quickly. In the dirt. 1-2. So through the 70 game mark of the season, talking about Major League Baseball in general, what's been surprising to you this year?
Well, I would probably point to some teams that have surprised me. The Toronto Blue Jays on the negative side have been a huge disappointment. Injuries a part of that.
That's because you left them.
It might well be. I don't know. Take credit when credit is offered.
What was your record there, by the way?
My record was not very good. Probably just above the 500 mark.
Okay. Going out the shortstop, Marwin Gonzalez into shallow left field. Takes care of that for out number 1.
How about the Dodgers and Angels both showing how to spend money and not get results?
True. It's been a story.
Yeah.
I'd say the resurgence of the Red Sox. They kind of remade their team.
That's been a big one. I'm not so hugely surprised at them turning things around. How about the Indians under Terry Francona becoming maybe a viable club? I don't know that they're going to contend. They're still a game under 500, but That's been a pretty good story.
It has been. I kind of think they're half-season wonders, but we'll see.
Yeah, the Oakland A's continue to leave me marveling.
Oh, yeah. Viciedo with a triple in 3 tries. Could be 3 for 3. He's been robbed a couple times. That's ball 1.
But I don't know, when it's all said and done, the St. Louis Cardinals just continue to show every organization how to get it done.
Oh, they are the class of baseball. Just an incredible year. 44-24, 647 winning percentage, best in the majors. They just hit like crazy. Bouncer high for Ambriz. It takes the out at first. Out number 2. What's going on in the American League West? The A's are 6-4, but the Rangers have scored 6 runs in 5 games. They're 6-10 since May 29th. They have a lot of injuries. Mike Zunino, 2 for 7. He hit a home run. And the Angels with a bit of an uptick, 5-5 in the last 10, but 9-19, including 3-7 against the Astros within the division. Travis Blackley's been warming up. That'll be it for Hector Ambriz. 5-2 Astros. Back in a moment. Minute Maid Park. Stay tuned for Astros Postgame Live. It's presented by MD Anderson, making cancer history. EY is working today, right? I think they ran his special Father's Day piece, EY Jr., on Astros Pregame Live. We didn't get to see it. Travis Blackley has no decisions. His ERA is 4.30.
Travis Blackley has one column that is rather alarming. 15 walks allowed in 23 innings. Left-hand hitters, though, he has dominated to the tune of a 175 batting average against, and that's what he's in now to take care of Adam Dunn at the plate.
And Dunn is 1 for 3. He has a runner at second base and 2 outs here in the 8th inning after Hector Ambriz got those 2 outs, getting Canerco and Viciedo. Blackley is pitcher number 4 for the Astros. He worked Friday night, 2/3 of an inning, didn't give up a hit or a run, coming in with a 2-1 lead in the 8th inning, and he got done on a double play ball, ground ball to first base. Altuve's out in right field. Barnes is way over in right center. Strike for Blackley. Now Blackley, we've been talking about the Astros players whose fathers are here today. Some of them threw out the first ball. But Blackley's son is here this weekend. Blackley has 10 holds. Foul tip makes it 0-2.
Travis is extremely deliberate with his pacing on the hill, kind of the anti-Dallas Keuchel.
Jim Crane, his wife Francie, are here today. They're getting ready for a picnic in the park after the game on the field with about 700 people, having sold out the event, first ever event here. The entire Astros team will be there. Reed Ryan and others will be mingling among the fans.
I told you there we needed those fingernail sets, the clippers.
Oh yeah,
manicure sets.
You're right.
I think Jim Crane finding this one to be a bit of a nail biter.
1 and 2. Well, it's going to be a really nice event, a fundraiser for the Astros Foundation. First ever picnic in the park. So it'll take a while to get the field ready, and everybody will get to take a blanket home after this picnic. Jeff Luhnow will be down there, Bo Porter, all the Astros players, starting 45 minutes after the game ends. John tried to check. The appeal went to third. He swung. Doug Eddings with the call. He struck him out to win the White Sox 8. No runs a hit, a man left. The Astros lead it 5-2. Happy Father's Day from us at Comcast Sportsnet to you. You're having a very restful and rewarding day with the family. And a good day here at Minute Maid Park as well. Astros fans hoping for a fourth straight Houston win. They're in position with a 5-2 lead going to the bottom of the 8th inning.
You find this restful, waiting for the Astros to make it 4 straight wins right now?
These games haven't been restful at all.
Of course, that home run by Jason Castro certainly helped in that regard.
Carlos Pena with strike one. You talked about the nail-biting nature of these ball games. A couple of one-run decisions for the Astros. And let's take it back to before the off day on Thursday, to your final outing on the road. You and Jeff Blum with the 6-run 9th inning, the 6-1 win over Seattle to snap a 6-game losing streak as you guys presided over that road finale. So that's what seems to be the catalyst, although it's hard to say that something could carry over from one game to another after a day off. But that was the beginning of something that the Astros have been building on.
Yeah, that's a point I've debated for a long time. Is there really momentum? I've been on teams where I guess I felt like it was the case. You start winning and you forget how to lose. But there are other times when everybody says, boy, you've got the momentum on your side, and then the game goes all wrong.
Pena gets underneath one. High drive. It's going to carry way out to the warning track, though. Almost. One out as Diaz goes back for it. Well, the old saying, momentum is only as good as the next day's starting
There
pitcher.
you go. I think that has an awful lot to do with it. The momentum for the Astros right now has really been that starting staff.
Giving them so many chances to win games, and they've gone 15-14 since the 15th of May. Robin Ventura will take the baseball from Thornton and move along here with a 5-2 Astros lead in the 8th. And Ramon Troncoso has been brought out of the bullpen. He's warming up. He will be pitcher number 4 for Robin Ventura in 2 games with the White Sox. He's 0-1 with a 4.5 ERA.
Can't get a whole lot from those numbers in a couple of innings. Left-hand hitters have had some immediate success. Right-handers limited.
He was a long-time Los Angeles Dodger. He's from the Dominican Republic, 30 years old. White Sox picked him up as a free agent last November. And he started out in AAA before being promoted June 6th, as you might have noticed. Trevor Crow's the batter. Crow has a fly ball to right and a couple of walks. Matt Dominguez on deck. Troncoso delivers, and there's strike 1 at 93 miles per hour. Nate Jones in 1 inning for the White Sox allowed 1 hit, 1 run. He didn't walk anybody and fan 1. Matt Thornton in 1 inning allowed 1 hit, 1 run with no walks and 1 strikeout. Starter Santiago went 5 1/3. He allowed 3 runs. That's strike 2.
Not a bad curveball.
Coming in at 77 miles per hour. Troncoso was the loser on Tuesday against Toronto in the 11-inning game, and a game-winning run scored on his wild pitch. He had not been in the big leagues prior to this season since September of 2011. White Sox relievers have really had a lift from several performers, including University of Houston stalwart Jesse Crain. Crane's been one of the best relievers in baseball. 25 1/3 innings without allowing a run. And for the season, a 0.60 ERA, 2 earned runs allowed in 30 innings for Jesse Crain.
It's amazing how that can go for bullpen guys. Jesse Crain had some rough years with Minnesota.
A liner out to center field. De Aza over, and a well hit ball for out number 2. Trevor Crow gets a hang with him. 7 hits for the Astros, 6 for the Sox. Matt Dominguez has the biggest hit of this game. That was a 3-run double in the second. That gave Dallas Keuchel some working room and a 3-0 Houston lead. Then he lined out in the 4th.
One of the most annoying phrases over the course of 162 games. Hang with them. Encouraging teammates, and yet when you hear it enough, it's like, yeah, you know, you just, that's the last thing you want to hear. Hit enough line drives for outs.
So if you loop one in just over the reach of the infielder and just in front of the outfielder, do you get the comment, "Oh, you're so lucky"?
Yeah, you do. And you'll probably smile like, "Oh, I didn't deserve that." Meanwhile, internally, you're thinking, "Oh boy, I need like 50 of those to even things out."
Carlos Marmol didn't get a hang with him today. That's poked to right field and caught by Rios. We move to the 9th inning. It's 5-2 Astros. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Well, the fans here at Minute Maid Park have started a new custom. When bringing in the Astros closer, Jose Veras, they form a V with their hands. And he has just come in again. He'll be pitcher number 5, the V for Veras, who last night picked up save number 13. And he survived a walk. He struck out 2, and then he picked off a base runner, pinch runner Jordan Danks, at second base for the final out of that game. First time in Astros history that a Houston pitcher has picked off a base runner for the last out in a win. He's 0-4 with a 3.60 ERA, and he's heard about these fans and what they're doing, but he hasn't actually seen it, man.
Opposition hitters hitting just 190, 13 walks. A lot of times they've come with that first man he's faced. Is that V for Veras or is it for victory? Bo Porter said that he feels now that when he calls on Jose Veras, victory is just about assured.
They've gone hand in hand lately. Jeff Keppinger, who's 2 for 3 lifetime against Veras, leads it off here in the 9th inning. Keppinger has an RBI single and a walk in 3 trips today. Veras trying to lock it down for Dallas Keuchel's 4th win. That one's up for ball 1. Travis Blackley struck out the only man he faced, Adam Dunn. Hector Ambrose in 2/3 of an inning, allowed 1 hit, no runs, with no walks or strikeouts. Jose Cisnero pitched scoreless ball for 2/3 of an inning, rather. And now this could be a real team effort on a 4th straight Houston win. If Veras can close it out, it's 2-0.
You would think this issue for Jose Veras, coming in the first man he faces on a given ball game, would be really job number 1. Throw strikes when you get out there.
That is a strike. It's 2-1. Last night it seemed that when he first came in and threw fastballs and he walked the leadoff man, that he went to the breaking ball, and that's what really bailed him out last night.
Well, I think at times he's had a better time, easier time throwing the breaking ball for a strike.
Hit sharply. Altuve diving. Altuve from his knees to Pena. 1 out.
Yeah, there's that sharply hit ground ball. The Astros did not have any kind of shift on for Keppinger this time, and it certainly pays off. It wasn't a long way to go for Altuve, but because the ball was hit so sharply, he still had to get there very quickly.
Good diving play. One out now, and it's Gordon Beckham batting. Beckham is 1 for 3. That's ball one. Well, earlier this season, as you well know, when the Astros lost 30 of their first 40, Jose Veras was not getting much regular work. He would come in after maybe a couple of days of inactivity just to get in an inning. So when he got his next save opportunity, he wouldn't be totally rusty. And now this could be 3 saves in 3 games for him. 2-0.
Get them while you can get them. A lot of times you can look around at guys who by midseason and the rest of the year are among the leaders in saves, and it'll be teams that don't pick up a whole lot of wins.
Funny the way that works. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, that strike right there, rather beneficial on the call. I think sometimes those closers, as we watch this strike call, is that in the strike zone? I don't know. I think if you're Jose Veras, you have to feel fortunate there. But a lot of times those closers are ready because they're not out there. They're not being asked to go all the time.
Left fielder Trevor Crow comes over to watch that one sail foul. Well, you figure the best teams are going to win what, maybe 100 games in Major League Baseball. They got another foul ball.
Yeah.
Now the kids got one.
Yeah, the kids have learned from Dad.
A rewarding day for those guys. Rolled up the middle. Marwin Gonzalez will not be able to get him. It's an infield hit for Gordon Beckham. Good try. He really had to range far to his left.
Saw Marwin make a similar play earlier in the ballgame, but this one with the speed of Beckham, rather, really no chance at all. Marwin Gonzalez just continues to show a gift, an athletic ability at shortstop. He can make some very difficult plays.
Went a long way to get to that one. Meanwhile, they've got 2 foul balls already. Could there be a third?
Oh, I think it's certainly a possibility. Just do it within 8.5 innings. That's all I've got to say.
Hector Jimenez is the batter. Venezuelan-born catcher who came up through the Astros system. And he had a lot of injuries along the way. Well, the Astros kept waiting and waiting for him to develop into a major league player, and he was for them in 06 for 2 at-bats. But that wasn't really what they had hoped for. There's strike one. Had shoulder surgery in 07. Didn't come back to the big leagues until 2011 with the Dodgers. 216, 2 homers, 10 runs batted in for Hector, who's now 30 years old. He had 11 at-bats with the White Sox last year. It was at AAA Charlotte most of the season.
Nice change.
0-2. Switch in catcher.
That's a pitch we don't see thrown a whole lot by Veras, but very effective with this one.
Certainly was. Veras has had 7 straight scoreless outings, and he's had 5 saves in those 7. The other 2 games were just games in which he came in for work. Breaking pitch makes it a 1-ball 2-strike count to Hector Jimenez. Back in the 4-game sweep of the Angels on the road for the Astros in late May and early June. Veras saved 3 of those 4. Cole Porter's club trying to win its 4th in a row, and win number 26 of the season is at hand. Bouncer, Altuve to his left. Flips over to Pena. 2 outs, back into second.
Smart play by Jose. You've got to make sure you get an out there. Until the White Sox have 2 base runners, you don't face the tying run. Get the sure thing.
Now De Aza. De Aza's 1 for 4, triple in the 6th, and he scored a run. Carlos Marmol took the mound with the Cubs leading the Mets 3-0 in the bottom of the 9th inning, and he gave up 4 runs and took the loss. 4 runs in 1/3 of an inning for Marmol, including a 3-run game-winning homer by Kirk Neuenhuis. Strike to De Aza. And he gave up a second home run in the inning to Marlon Byrd. The Cubs closer was not available, so they tried Marmol instead, and he got his 3rd blown save of the year. Fly ball to right field. Jimmy Paredes backing all the way back at the wall, and that one is a 2-run homer. And now it's 5-4 as De Aza hits a bolt. That's number 8 of the year for him. A 2-run shot, giving him 32 runs batted in and a 1-run lead. So now the Jason Castro homer in the 7th looms larger.
This is just getting enough. Jimmy Paredes, that leaping ability comes up shy. Now you've got to be able to get this final out without any further damage.
Alexei Ramirez is the batter. He's 0 for 3 with a sac fly. That's the 4th homer allowed by Veras in his 31st inning. Strike to Ramirez. Alex Rios is on deck. Each club now has 7 hits. The White Sox have hit 64 home runs. They're 13th in the American League. Ramirez takes a look at it for ball 1. And now another 1-run game.
You're all about the 1-run affairs, aren't you?
I've been all over. Sharp breaking ball makes it 1-2. You know, there have been more extra inning games this year. It's just been crazy.
I wonder if that's a factor of less runs being scored overall.
That's what I think. They're on a record pace right now for extra inning games. Fans have had a good day of it. Jose Veras trying to close it out. Time is called by Carlos Corcoran. Record pace for extra inning games, and the games generally are lower scoring, so it would figure that there are going to be more than the normal quota of 1-run games and more extra inning games as well. But also it may speak to a lot of evenly balanced clubs in the majors. Ooh, just off the plate. 2-2 to Ramirez. Good crowd today, 25,829 here at Minute Maid Park. Year-old Jose Veras trying to send everybody home very happy on Father's Day. Bouncer short, Marwin. And the stretch by Carlos Pena takes care of the final out. Save number 14 for Jose Veras. He survives the 2-run homer by De Aza. The Astros have won 4 in a row. Matt Dominguez, one of those coming up big with their fathers in attendance. Brandon Barnes, another. Dallas Keuchel, another. Hector Ambrose. It was a wonderful Father's Day for the dads of these Astros players. Houston wins it over the White Sox 5-4.